Chapter 1187. As soon as he returned to the clear sky myriad scroll door, buzz, the token suddenly rang nonstop. It turned out that there was a major change in the equipment refining hall, but Su Fong was nowhere to be seen. Out Yin Chanhen and the other Star Palace higher-ups were very anxious. Immortal Changgu also transmitted his voice. Master, where are you? The higher-ups are looking for you everywhere. They are about to inform the clear sky myriad scroll door. It's okay. Something happened in the equipment refining hall. I'm back in the cave now. Su Fong did not tell Immortal Changgu about what happened. After transmitting his voice to Out Yin Chanhen through the token, Su Fong returned to the cave. First, he placed Fairy Xuanxin in a room in the cave. Fairy Xuanxin was seriously injured and unconscious. It would be difficult for her to recover in a short time. It was very dangerous for her to stay alone in the material world. It was not convenient for Su Fong to send her back to mysterious hidden sky, so he could only bring her back. Fortunately, Fairy Xuanxin knew that Ghostface Rakshasa was related to Huangfu Shaoying, so he did not have to worry about how to explain it to her when she woke up. Buzz, suddenly, there was a movement in his body. Su Fong separated a young immortal and entered the crucible transformation space. Gu Huajun was nowhere to be seen. She had been swallowed by Gue and became its nutrients. Outside the equipment refining hall's cave, the special disciple killed by Gue and Ning Zishuan's body were eaten by Gue and the 5 big goblin. At this time, Gue swallowed Gu Huajun alone. Its aura had obviously become a lot stronger, and its strength had obviously improved a lot. Su Fong's attention was attracted by Gu Huajun's storage ring. Putting the ring between his palms turned into a fire cloud state and refined the seal on the ring. After merging with 1,000 illusion star fire, Su Fong's illusory fire cloud had advanced to the next level. It could even refine ordinary pills and magic weapons. Refining the seal on the ring was not difficult. The young immortal entered the storage ring and checked the harvest, which surprised Su Fong. As expected of a genius disciple of the clear sky myriad scroll gate, his background was also astonishing. There were various immortal stones, precious stones, strange stones, and other cultivation resources in his storage ring. It was definitely not something that an ordinary special disciple could compare to. However, with Su Fong's current net worth, he certainly wouldn't put these resources in his eyes. He didn't even care about Gu Huajun's flying sword. However, Su Fong was very interested in the green pearl and the gray Taoist robe. The cyan light pearl was a shuttle-type, mid-grade Dao tool. It was somewhat similar to Su Fong's instant space ring. Su Fong lacked such a magic treasure. The gray Taoist robe was also a mid-grade Dao item, but it was a concealment-type Dao item. If Su Fong activated this Dao item and used the Heaven Secret Life shrinking technique, even a great elder of the world immortal realm would have a hard time discovering his whereabouts. The functions of these 2 Dao items were very strange. Su Fong kept the gray Taoist robe, waiting for the time to refine it. However, he gave the cyan light pearl to Mao Chong. He had the immortal piercing blade, a top-grade Dao item. With the help of the cyan light pearl's ability to shuttle through space, his combat strength would definitely increase by a lot. What surprised Su Fong even more was that there was a black substance in the storage ring that released a faint starlight. It turned out to be a world fragment. In a large world, it was not too difficult to obtain a world fragment. However, many cultivators were not willing to choose to cultivate a world fragment. That was because a world fragment was not easy to cultivate. Gu Huajun had a world fragment, but did not cultivate it. Presumably, it was because of this reason that Su Fong took advantage of it. After thinking about it, Su Fong gave this world fragment to Wuling Goblin, letting him use the refining power of the crucible transformation realm to cultivate. Wuling Goblin had contributed a lot. Among the big goblin, he had contributed the most. He had repeatedly helped Su Fong escape from danger. Meritorious service must be rewarded. Wuling Goblin was surprised and happy. Except for Green Feather King and Bai Ling, the other big goblin were very envious. There will be plenty of opportunities to obtain world fragments in the future. Whoever contributes the most will get the reward first. Su Fong restored the spirit of a small world's overlord. Many thanks, Master. Vermilion Emperor said, Master, since we came to the large world, we have rarely had the chance to go out for a breath of fresh air. Master, you're getting more and more powerful now. How can we have the opportunity to contribute? Since I came to the immortal world, I have been treading on thin ice at every step. Naturally, I did not dare to let you show up easily. At this time, I have a certain capital. It will not be long before I can lead you to become the overlord of a large world, just like in the small world. You will even be able to sweep through the immortal domain. Su Fong said confidently, his domineering aura spontaneously rising. The big goblin and experts in the crucible transformation world were looking forward to it. Buzz, the power of the great perfection realm, sensed several experts flying towards the cave residence. It turned out to be Yuling Tian, Out Yin Chanhen, and Huangfu Elder who came together. Immortal Changgu and Huangfu Fei also followed behind. Su Fong walked out of the cave residence and cupped his fists in greeting. Disciple greets elders and eldest Mississippi. The three great elders were obviously relieved. It seemed that they were still very worried about Su Fong's safety. As for Huangfu Fei, her cold gaze swept past Su Fong, as if she wanted to see through Su Fong. Su Fong paid special attention to Huangfu Elder's expression. He did not find anything unusual. It seemed that Su Fong did not take the matter of Huangfu Ju's death to heart. Yuling Tian asked about Su Fong's previous whereabouts. Su Fong stammered. In the end, he was forced and said embarrassedly, I went to look for Fairy Xuanxin. The few Star Palace giants looked as if they had suddenly understood. Huangfu Fei's cold eyes were filled with doubt. Yuling Tian reminded Su Fong. When he was about to leave, Su Fong suddenly spoke. Elder's disciple has a request. Yuling Tian nodded. Speak. Su Fong cupped his fists in front of Yuling Tian and then bowed to Huangfu Elder. Huangfu Elder, ever since disciple entered the constellation of 9 heavens, I was nurtured by Huangfu Training Hall. That's how I am today. I will never forget the kindness of Huangfu clan. Huangfu Elder raised his eyebrows. Huangfu Shaoying, what are you trying to say? Su Fong bowed deeply. Disciple's name is Su Fong. After joining Huangfu Training Hall, I was given the name Huangfu Shaoying. If disciple were to marry Xuanxin as a disciple with a different surname from Huangfu clan, it would be extremely inappropriate. Hence, I sincerely request Elder Huangfu Elder's permission to change back to my original name. What? Huangfu Elder's face suddenly turned grave. A wave of oppressive divine power covered Su Fong. Suddenly, Huangfu Fei's cold eyes swept out and covered Su Fong, almost freezing Su Fong. Huangfu Shaoying, how dare you betray Huangfu clan? Betrayal. Su Fong sneered in his heart. He had been tricked by Huangfu Shaoyue and entered the constellation of 9 heavens with high hopes. However, he had been reduced to a slave in Huangfu Training Hall and had been bullied. Not only had his treasures been taken away, but he had also almost lost his life. All along, he had been treading on thin ice, trembling with fear and enduring humiliation. In Huangfu clan, apart from baby Huangfu, no one else had treated Su Fong as a human. As for Huangfu Fei, at most, she had treated Su Fong as a slave worth nurturing. Had she not humiliated Su Fong enough? Huangfu clan had treated Su Fong so badly. How could there be any betrayal? To Su Fong, the name Huangfu Shaoying was a great humiliation. He had always wanted to wash away this humiliation. At this time, he was just borrowing the power to change his name. If he had the chance, he would even kill Huangfu Fei, this be *TCH, and return all the oppression and humiliation in the past 10 times over. Su Fong raised his head. His eyes were firm as he said slowly, as a dignified man, Su Fong has no face to face the world at this important moment of dual cultivation and marriage between a woman and a man. Out Yin Zhonghen looked at Su Fong. His eyes flashed with praise. He saw the shadow of himself in Su Fong. You are an immortal who ascended from the lower realm. Your status is lowly. Don't tell me that being a disciple of Huangfu clan with a different surname is a disgrace to you? In the past, I saw that you were pitiful and hardworking, so I focused on training you. Now that you think your wings are strong, you actually want to betray me. You ungrateful person, Huangfu Fei said coldly. Su Fong wanted to escape from her control, which made this extremely controlling woman very angry. You think I'm pitiful? Su Fong smiled coldly. Su Fong straightened his back and said loudly, Disciple has made up his mind. If I can't restore my original name, then the marriage ceremony will be canceled. You traitor, do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? Huangfu Fei formed a seal with her hands. A cold and powerful aura was about to be released. Su Fong sneered, not taking it seriously. If it weren't for the fact that there were outsiders present, it would be easy for him to kill Huangfu Fei with his second Yuan spirit. This bitch really did think that she was his master. Stop. As expected, the aura of a peerless elder was released, and Huangfu Fei's aura was instantly shattered. Yuling Tian said to Su Fong, This matter concerns the alliance between our two sections. How can we allow you to play around? Suddenly, Xianin Tian's voice rang out from outside the immortal cave. Yuling Tian, old man Huangfu, are you bullying the weak? A white-haired old man walked in. He was like a mountain, and his divine aura enveloped the immortal cave. The pressure that Huangfu Elder had placed on Su Fong was immediately shattered. Ao Tian Zhonghen and Huangfu Elder bowed. Even Yuling Tian had no choice but to clasp his fists and call him senior. Huangfu Fei stared coldly. She was furious, but she didn't dare do anything. Yuling Tian asked, Senior, why have you come here? Xian Tian glared at Su Fong. My granddaughter is here. Why can't she come? The marriage ceremony hasn't even begun, yet you're meeting in private. How improper. Su Fong was stunned. He had never thought that Xian Tian would be able to sense Fairy Xuanxin's existence. The old man really was powerful. Yuling Tian and the others were also stunned. Then they began to think. Immortal Longgu secretly gave Su Fong a thumbs up. Master is mighty. You've captured Fairy Xuanxin's heart so quickly. It seems this subordinate will soon have a master wife. Su Fong smiled bitterly. Xuanxin isn't. How could she be here? Huangfu Fei was stunned. She couldn't believe it, and then she panicked. However, she didn't show it on her face. Xianin Tian turned to Yuling Tian and said majestically, My granddaughter is the #1 fairy of the clear sky, 10,000 Scrolls Gate. She's a genius of the heavens and a disciple of the Huangfu Dao Rite. Yuling Tian could only smile and follow Xian Tian's words. Whether it's Huangfu, Shaoying, or Su Fong, they're both disciples of the constellation of 9 heavens. We'll let him do as he pleases. Elder Huangfu, what do you think? Huangfu Fei said secretly, Elder Huangfu, this child's future is limitless. It's unwise for the Huangfu clan to become enemies with him over such a small matter. Hee hee. Huangfu Elder laughed loudly. As a disciple of another surname Huangfu, it's indeed inappropriate for him to marry Fairy Xuanxin. It's my fault. From now on, there's only Su Fong. There's no Huangfu Shaoying. Thank you, Elder Huangfu. Su Fong cupped his fists and bowed. He allowed a long sigh of relief in his heart. Yuling Tian and the others left the cave. Before leaving, Huangfu Fei said in a cold voice, Su Fong, don't forget that your legs are still sealed by me. I can take them away at any time. Is that so? I'm afraid you won't come. Su Fong smiled coldly. Chapter 1188. Why would Xuanxin be so heavily injured? Her aura is also so weak. Once Yuling Tian and the other elders left, Xian Tian's face darkened. It was as if the heavens were angry and wanted to punish him. The shackles were even more terrifying than when they first met. What a peerless elder. It seemed that Xian Tian was really angry. Su Fong felt like his body was going to fall apart at any time. Well, Su Fong couldn't find a suitable excuse. Grumbling inwardly, he had no choice but to brace himself and endure. Grandpa, it was Xuanxin. He didn't know when she woke up, but she sounded very weak. HM, Xian Tian rolled up his sleeves and walked quickly to Xuanxin's room. It has nothing to do with Huangfu Shaoying and Su Fang. She had woken up a long time ago and heard everything that happened outside. I accidentally encountered an evil master when I went out. I was injured and was saved by a friend. That friend happened to know Su Fang, so he sent me here. What a smart woman. She explained the matter clearly in a few words and dispelled Xian Yintian's doubts and anger. Xian Yintian was furious, but he also felt sorry for Xuanxin. Then he looked at Su Fang. You're not bad, but your cultivation is too low. How are you going to protect Xuanxin in the future? Hurry up and increase your cultivation. If you still need a woman to protect you, you'll be a laughingstock. Su Fang smiled bitterly. It seemed that this old man took it seriously. Xian Tian comforted Xuanxin for a while and was very kind. He was no longer the dignified elder, which surprised Su Fang. Then he left a lot of elixirs and left. The room became silent. The atmosphere was very heavy. Xuanxin said faintly, I knew you were extraordinary when we were in the Star Palace. Now it seems that I underestimated you. In time, there will be a place for you in the celestial realm, even higher than the 10 great lords. However, I only agreed to dual cultivate with you because of Luosha's request. You? Su Fang hurriedly answered, Su Fang understands. Fairy Xuanxin is a proud daughter of heaven, while Su Fang is a toad on the ground. How could I dare to have improper thoughts about Fairy? Fairy, please rest assured. You and I will only be dual cultivation in name, but we won't actually do it. Fairy Xuanxin smiled. Next, however, her beautiful brows were tightly knit together. Her eyes were filled with coldness and pain, and her entire body was covered in coldness. Seeing Xuanxin, Su Fang understood that she had suffered another blow this time. Her heart must be filled with anger, like dead ashes. For some reason, Su Fang felt pity for her and couldn't help but say, Fairy, you clearly know that Huangfu Fei is messing around with Yin Sun Xin, so why did you leave the sect to meet her? Xuanxin raised her head in surprise and stared at Su Fang with a surprised and shocked gaze. How did you know this? Luosha told you. It seems that your relationship with Luosha is not ordinary. What else did he tell you? Su Fang was no longer the weak chicken he used to be. Under her gaze, he didn't panic and said casually, Well, Senior Luosha told me to be careful of Huangfu Fei, so he told me this. Xuanxin was silent for a moment and said, Huangfu Fei contacted me and said that she found traces of Luosha. She invited me and other genius disciples to hunt down Luosha and seize the inheritance of the Yellow Springs Devil Emperor's dojo. I hurried over, but I didn't expect it to be a trap. It turns out that in this world, not only men can't be trusted, but also women. This fairy Xuanxin was actually so concerned about Luosha. Su Fang was surprised and astonished. Su Fang once used the identity of Luosha to save Xuanxin Fairy from Gu Huajun. Although this matter was very secretive, since Huangfu Fei and Gu Huajun worked together to scheme against Xuanxin, it wasn't strange that she knew about this matter. But Su Fang didn't expect that Xuanxin Fairy would be so concerned about Luosha. Luo suddenly said from the depths of his body, Boy, it seems that the number 1 fairy of Qin Tian Thousand Scroll Gate has fallen in love with you. Why don't you take the opportunity to take her down? Luo, you're not serious again. Even if what you said is right, Xuanxin loves Luosha, not me, Su Fang. That's not the same. Of course it's not the same. After a moment of silence, Xuanxin said, How is Senior Brother Gu? This person is crazy and no different from a beast. He has been killed by Senior Luosha. This is what Senior Luosha said. I don't know the details. Xian Xian's eyes were filled with sorrow and sorrow. When Su Fang saw this, he couldn't help but shake his head secretly. This woman is intelligent and loyal, but it has also become her fatal weakness. If it wasn't for this, how could she have been schemed against time and time again, and even fallen into a bottleneck in her cultivation? What's more, the people who schemed against her were the people closest to her. It was really cruel for a woman. Please keep the matter between Senior Brother Gu and Huangfu Fei a secret for me. I should go back. Sorry for disturbing you. Xuanxin trembled and struggled to get up, about to leave. Senior Luosha asked me to tell Fairy that people's hearts are sinister. Fairy, please be careful and vigilant. The past is already in the past. Fairy, don't worry too much. Understand. Tell Luosha for me. Although I can't thank him for his kindness, I still have to say thank you. Looking at Xuanqin Fairy's lonely and desolate back, Su Fong sighed in his heart. Kid, you said you didn't like this woman, but you kept getting involved with her. This is fate. If you don't grasp it in time, you will regret it in the future. Who doesn't like the #1 fairy? But liking her is one thing, but it's not true love. If you take her for yourself just because you like her, what's the difference between you and a hypocrite like Gu Huajun? Fairy Xuanqin, leave it to fate. Su Fong, it's a waste of youth if you're not a romantic. You're really boring. Luo, were you also a romantic back then? Luo didn't say anything, probably recalling something from the past. My purpose in coming to the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll door this time, other than the marriage alliance, was to absorb the great pregnant purple chi of the equipment refining hall. At this time, I've already absorbed all of the great pregnant purple chi and accidentally fused with the 1,000 illusion starfire. The marriage alliance ceremony is coming soon, so it's time to prepare. The marriage alliance ceremony was coming. On the surface, it looked like a marriage alliance, but in fact, it was an alliance ceremony between the two major forces to announce to the other forces that the ethereal true solution belonged to the two major forces. The Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Door and the Constellation of 9 Heavens were both immortal domain-level forces. They were only slightly weaker than the Tranquility Emperor's residence, the Heavenly Tao Immortal Domain, and other immortal domain master forces. When the two major forces formed an alliance, even these forces didn't dare to underestimate them. Su Fong, who gave away the ethereal true solution, naturally became the target of public criticism. This marriage alliance ceremony was a gathering of the winds and clouds for Su Fong, and there would be a lot of fighting. The marriage alliance ceremony, the arrival of the 8 storms, is also a chance for Su Fong to become famous in the immortal domain. Su Fong's eyes burned with determination and confidence. His gaze was sharp, and his aura was shocking. Half the night, Su Fong entered the void dust cauldron. He gathered all the experts in Big Goblin. During the marriage alliance ceremony, I will definitely become famous in the immortal domain. Next, I will face all the peerless experts. You must quickly increase your strength to deal with the upcoming challenges. Green Feather Monarch said excitedly, Kid, I've been waiting for this day. The Great Monk, the Ghost Owl's 5 freaks, and the other experts, as well as the Big Goblin and the small commanders, were all very excited. Su Fong took out spirit veins from the Yellow Spring, Great Emperor's inheritance. He also had alchemy experts activate 4 top-grade pill cauldrons to refine high-grade yin-yang immortal sky pills for his subordinates, the Big Goblin, and more than 20,000 small commanders and demon immortals to cultivate. He was also not stingy with all kinds of Tao artifacts and gave them all to his subordinates. His subordinates knew that their master was finally going to show his strength. As long as they established a force, they would not have to stay in the Crucible Transformation Realm or the Yellow Spring Great Emperor's bottle all the time, who wouldn't cultivate crazily and do their best to increase their strength. After making arrangements for his subordinates, Su Fong transformed into the Yellow Spring Blood Sea and began to devour pills to break through to the peak of the 6 Paths' profound immortal realm. He also activated his Blood Transformation True Body and Black Lotus True Body, fully erupting their peak strength and cultivating with the Yellow Spring Blood Sea. After cultivating in seclusion for a year, Su Fong was not far from breaking through to the peak of the 6 Paths' profound immortal realm. However, the 24th Yang Meridian still needed a long time to be born. The Big Dipper Cauldron of Good Fortune had fused further. Su Fong's cultivation was still a little difficult to use to refine equipment. Due to the lack of lightning attribute cultivation techniques, it was still difficult to activate the Xinming Lightning Seal and could not be used for the time being. However, together with the Yellow Spring Reincarnation Technique, the Reincarnation Sword could finally activate a part of its power. The reason was that Su Fong had absorbed a large amount of fortune purple chi in the clear sky, Thousand Scrolls sex refining hall. Not only did the purple chi spirit fuse with his arms, it also extended to his torso. Therefore, Su Fong's ability to control magic treasures had multiplied. Although he could only activate less than 1/10 of a Yellow Spring reincarnation sword's power, he could rely on this attack to heavily injure an expert of the world immortal realm like Dai Yong. What surprised Su Fong the most was that by activating the illusory fire cloud, Su Fong could use the special ability of the 1,000 illusory starfire. It gave him another strange and powerful technique. In just a year, he had gained so much. Su Fong was very happy. Suddenly, Su Fong sensed that the Origin's sacred mirror was moving and quickly took it out. It turned out that there was a faint red light flashing on the Origin sacred mirror. It was very hot to the touch, but he could not find out the reason. Su Fong asked Luo for advice. Luo, do you know the reason for this? Luo replied, this treasure of yours has an extraordinary origin. I also don't know why it suddenly moved. It is very likely that there will be some changes in the natural environment of the great immortal realm, and it will be a big change. That is why it can move automatically. Su Fong put away the profound sky, sacred mirror. Although he could not guess the reason, he had a bad premonition. It seemed that a storm was coming. Buzz, the power of the great perfection, sensed that someone had come to the secret realm where the cave abode was. Huangfu Fei, baby Huangfu, and when the power of the great perfection saw who had come, Su Fong immediately frowned. Huangfu Xiaoying, no, I should call you Su Fong. Haha, baby, I was right in the past. You will soar into the sky sooner or later. You are indeed my brother. You even got fairy Xuanxin. Let's see who in the Star Palace dares to be unconvinced by me now. When they met, baby Huangfu gave Su Fong a bear hug. He was very excited. He was still the same baby Huangfu, treating Su Fong like how he used to be. Then, baby Huangfu lowered his voice. Su Fong, the reason why you changed your name and did not want to be Huangfu is because you want to hit on my sister? It will be more convenient this way. Although my sister is not as beautiful as fairy Xuanxin, she is still a rare beauty in the great immortal realm. You are really good, two beauties at the same time. Su Fong was speechless. Su Fong looked at Huangfu Fei. He saw that she still had her usual cold and arrogant look. There was nothing unusual about her. This woman was very shrewd. Behind Huangfu Fei, there were a few figures that Su Fong was familiar with. Li Qianqi, Tong Yu, Chou Yun, Lian Chongxian. All of them were special disciples of the Star Palace, and they were very outstanding. There was another figure with a cold face and a vast aura of desolation. It was the #1 disciple of the Star Palace, and Tiando. On his way to the green sky, 1,000 rolling door, he was ambushed by Yin Sun-Shin, who disguised himself as a man in black. Thanks to him, Yin Sun-Shin was lured away. Chapter 1189. And Tiandu's aura was empty, and his expression was calm. He had the demeanor of the #1 disciple of Star Palace. He was curious about Su Fong, but he did not look down on him. Huangfu Fei changed her usual cold demeanor. She was no longer as arrogant as before. Instead, she was friendly, as if the conflict with Su Fong never happened. Li Tianqi's face was full of mockery and disdain. Chou Yun and Tong Yu were eager to compete with Su Fong. As for Lian Chongxian, he avoided Su Fong's gaze. How could Su Fong not understand her thoughts? I, Su Fong, am no longer a weakling like before. You're no longer my goal. Su Fong was full of confidence. The aura of a peerless overlord of a small world returned to him. Huangfu Fei had a rare smile. Su Fong, the marriage ceremony will be held in a few days. All 8 forces will be present. There will be many famous young talents and peerless geniuses in the immortal domain. I promised you that I would hold a gathering to help you get to know the talents of the immortal domain. The gathering will be held today. Let's go. Gathering. Su Fong was surprised. He had fallen out with Huangfu Fei. How could this woman be so kind? Why? Are you afraid? You are from a lowly background. The person who spoke was Li Qianqi. He had asked Xuanxin to cultivate with him, but was rejected. He did not expect that a lower-level disciple that he had never paid any attention to had suddenly become the dual cultivation partner of goddess Xian Xin. Of course, Li Tianqi, was displeased. Afraid, Su Fang raised the corner of his mouth. An arrogant and domineering aura was born. Xuanqin was famous and had countless admirers. Among them were peerless geniuses like the 10 great young masters. Su Fang's marriage with her had cut off countless people's thoughts. How could they accept it? The gathering would definitely be full of provocation. Moreover, those peerless geniuses had come to the clear sky myriad scrolls door for the ethereal true insight. Although they didn't dare to snatch it by force like before, they would still test it out. Huang Fu Fei, that be *TCH, only wanted to use this gathering to humiliate Su Fang in front of everyone. She even wanted to beat Su Fang back to his original form so that she could easily control Su Fang. I, Su Fang, am no longer the lowly disciple that you, Huang Fu Fei, stepped on and could only swallow your anger. Huang Fu Fei, I have to thank you for creating this platform for me and giving me the chance to become famous. The gathering will be held on the Green Cloud Immortal platform. Let's go. Without waiting for Huang Fu Fei's instructions, Su Fang took the lead and walked out of the cave. They passed through the formation and headed for the Green Cloud Immortal platform in the middle of the sky. The few special disciples lagged behind like followers, and they were all very annoyed. Green Cloud Immortal platform. There was a platform floating in the void. It was 3,000 feet in size and had a strange shape. From afar, it looked like a huge, ancient scroll that had been opened. It emitted various Taoist auras, and it was surrounded by clouds and mist. All kinds of rare birds were circling around it. It was a very beautiful scene. Who are you? When Su Fang and the others approached, a few disciples wearing scroll Taoist patterns immediately went up to stop them. So, it's the senior brothers from the constellation of 9 heavens. Seeing Su Fang and the others wearing starry robes, one of the disciples cupped his fists. Looking at his Taoist robe, he should be a core disciple that was specially sent to serve. His gaze swept across Su Fang. This disciple's eyes were filled with disdain. You are Huang Fu Shaoying? I have already changed my name to Su Fang. Su Fang's eyebrows curled, and his eyes were cold. Su Fang's name change had already been announced by the 2 major sects, but this person still called him Huang Fu Shaoying. It was obvious that he was looking down on him and even humiliating him. Whether it's Huang Fu Shaoying or Su Fang, isn't it all you? The exceptional geniuses from the 8 major sects have already arrived. Everyone, please. This disciple smiled disdainfully and led the way. Seeing Su Fang being looked down on by a core disciple of the Green Sky Myriad Scrolls Gate, Li Tianqi, Chou Yun, and the others all had mocking expressions and gloated. After passing through the cloud barrier outside the Green Cloud Immortal platform, the scenery in front of them suddenly changed. The pavilions on the platform, the fake mountains, and the flowing water were abundant with spirit qi, and there was even the sound of nature lingering. In the center of the immortal platform, a group of people gathered in 2s and 3s. Su Fangda's complete power immediately sensed a familiar aura. Several of the 10 young masters had arrived, and Su Fang recognized many of them. Long Xiaojun from the Heavenly Law Immortal World, Lord Daqin, Lord Gongyu from the Divine Palace, Lord Shuiyu. There were also many familiar faces, Yin Sun Xin, Huang Lingyao, and Lang Liyun. There were also special disciples from the Green Sky Myriad Scrolls Gate, Huiyin, Shinrikyo, and Brahma Meditation Sect. There were also many people that Su Fang had never seen before. Their auras were empty and extraordinary, and they were all exceptional geniuses from various major sections. The only people he didn't see were those from the Tranquility Emperor's residence. He didn't know if they would come to participate in the marriage ceremony. The appearance of Long Xiaojun and Huang Lingyao surprised Su Fang. Logically speaking, the Heavenly Law Immortal World and the constellation of 9 heavens were already enemies, so they shouldn't have come. Constellation of 9 heavens, Huang Fu Shaoying, a disciple of another surname Huang Fu Taoist Hall, has arrived. The core disciple of the green sky myriad scrolls gate, who led the way, suddenly shouted with a mocking voice and a smug expression. Instantly, everyone's attention was attracted, and their gazes landed on Su Fong. Scrutiny, mockery, disdain. All kinds of strange gazes seemed to be looking at Su Fong as a joke. Su Fong said coldly, "You're just showing off like this to embarrass me, right?" The core disciple was very arrogant. "I was kind enough to inform you, but you're blaming me. Not only am I a special disciple of the constellation of 9 heavens, but I was also personally appointed as a special disciple by the upper echelons of the green sky myriad scrolls gate. You're just a core disciple. Not only do you have no respect for me, but you're also embarrassing me. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the sex laws? Respect." The core disciple revealed an expression that said, "You're not worthy." Then, he turned around and was about to leave. Respect. It wasn't something given by others, but something that needed to be obtained with one's own strength. Oomph. Su Fong activated the flaming cloud steps, leaving behind a trail of flames. With a single step, he stepped behind the core disciple, and the starlight fist suddenly exploded and shook. The core disciple was ordered by the special disciple of the green sky myriad scrolls gate to come up and give Su Fong a show of strength. He never expected that Su Fong would actually dare to make a move in front of everyone. This person's cultivation was at the mystic, immortal 9th Dao realm, and he was considered very outstanding among the core disciples. He was even higher than Su Fong. Rumble. The sound rumbled and echoed on the green sky immortal platform. The core disciple was sent flying by the starlight fist of the celestial essence void-shaped fist. He fell to the ground and vomited blood. More than a dozen disciples of the green sky myriad scrolls gate rushed over. From their robes, one could tell that these people were the enforcers of the punishment hall. This person rudely contradicted a special disciple in front of so many distinguished guests, causing the sect to be humiliated. His cultivation will be crippled, and he will be expelled from the sect. Su Fong said in a deep voice, incomparably domineering. The people of the punishment hall were still hesitating. Su Fong continued, "If you don't do it, I will report to Elder Gu and the higher-ups of the sect, and you will be punished together with him." The people of the punishment hall were all trembling with cold sweat. They escorted the seriously injured core disciple away from the green sky immortal platform. The way they looked at Su Fong suddenly changed, wild and domineering, ruthless and decisive. This was the impression they had of Su Fong at this time. Su Fong was not complacent. This person was just a clown who was used as a tool. He was not qualified to make him take action. The purpose of punishing this person was just to deter some flies so that they would not come out to buzz and annoy him when they had the chance. He cupped his fist to the crowd and said, "Su Fong greets all the peerless geniuses. Sorry for the lack of hospitality. This person is indeed extraordinary." A man in a red robe raised his sword-like eyebrows. He was Gong Yu of the boundless secular palace. He laughed heartily and walked towards Su Fong. As if they were old acquaintances, he went up to Su Fong and chatted with him. He seemed to have forgotten that he had sent Red Kite to Su Fong's side to steal Gong Yu and almost killed Su Fong. "Junior Sister Huang, this acquaintance of yours from the lower realm seems to be an extraordinary person. Let's go and get to know him," Long Xiaojun said with a smile. He walked side by side with Huang Lingyao to Su Fong. Others like young Master Qin and young Master Shui Yu also went up to make friends with Su Fong. For a moment, Su Fong was surrounded in the center like a moon surrounded by stars. Su Fong was an overlord of a small world. He was not afraid of such a scene and calmly greeted them. There were also people who looked on coldly and scrutinized Su Fong. There were also people who had heard of Ntiando's name and Huang Fufei's appearance. They went up to chat with the two. Although Li Qianxi, Chou Yun, and the others were very famous in the constellation of 9 heavens, they were obviously a level lower than the peerless geniuses of the 8 forces. They were ignored by the crowd. Su Fong naturally became the target of jealousy. Li Qianxi said sourly, "These people are all here for the ethereal enlightenment, not for Huang Fu, Shaoying himself. They really think they're some big shot." Chou Yun sneered, "These peerless geniuses all look elegant, But which one of them isn't a ruthless person? Wait until the banquet starts. Dong! A melodious bell rang, signaling the start of the banquet. Beautiful female disciples of the clear sky's myriad scroll door welcomed everyone into the banquet hall. The peerless geniuses sat down one after another. Su Fong was the host, so he naturally sat in the main seat. Who knew? As soon as he sat down, a voice came from outside the hall. Crown Prince Wei of the Tranquility Emperor's Mansion is here. As soon as he finished speaking, a man in white slowly walked into the hall. Behind him was a small boy who looked like he was carved out of jade. The hall fell into silence. The man in white was in his early 30s. He had a square face. As he looked around, he naturally gave off a dominating aura, as if he was an emperor on an inspection tour. If he put on a dragon robe, he would look like a supreme being in the world. This man, he was the crown prince of the Tranquility Emperor's Mansion. Su Fong used his power at the peak. He saw an emperor's aura circling around this man. It was even stronger than Long Xiaojuan's. From the words of others, Su Fong understood that this person was extraordinary. This man was crowned Prince Ziwei, the eldest son of Tranquility Emperor of the Xianao Great World. He was also one of the top 10 childs in the immortal realm. Long Xiaojuan's face was gloomy. The heavenly law immortal realm and the Tranquility Emperor's Mansion had been enemies for a long time. It was said that Tranquility Emperor once killed a divine dragon. In fact, it was a peerless warrior from the Long family of the Celestial Realm. He fought his way into Tranquility Emperor's residence and was killed by Tranquility Emperor. Naturally, Long Xiaojun would not be nice to Crown Prince Wei. The other peerless geniuses all stood up and saluted Crown Prince Wei. A female disciple of the clear sky's myriad scroll door led Crown Prince Ziwei to the first seat on the left. However, Crown Prince Ziwei looked at Su Fong and frowned. What kind of status does His Highness the Ziwei Crown Prince have? How can he sit below others? Get down here. The boy behind the Ziwei Crown Prince pointed at Su Fong. Although his voice was crisp, it was incomparably overbearing. Swish, swish, swish. Everyone looked at Su Fong, waiting to see how he would deal with this. There were also people who mocked and ridiculed Su Fong, waiting to see him embarrassed. Chapter 1190. Long Xiaojun sneered. The Tranquility Emperor's residence is so arrogant. Do you think the entire celestial region is your territory? The Ziwei Crown Prince is a guest at the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. We should treat you with hospitality, Su Fong said calmly as he stood up slowly. Everyone thought that Su Fong was going to back down, so they looked down on Su Fong with disdain. Li Qianxi and the others even laughed sarcastically. Who knew? Su Fong suddenly changed the topic and said sternly, since you are a guest, you should follow the rules of a guest. Does the Tranquility Emperor's residence not know etiquette and allow a servant to shout at his master? How dare you be rude to me? The Ziwei Crown Prince's eyes were cold. The Ziwei Crown Prince was rude first. Do you expect others to treat you with respect? If the Ziwei Crown Prince want to show off, please go back to your Tranquility Emperor's residence. The clear sky's myriad scroll gate can't accommodate a crown prince like you. To put it politely, you're not welcome here. Get lost. Su Fong directly asked him to leave. So domineering. So domineering. Long Xiaojun laughed loudly. Well said. This is a gathering of peerless geniuses from all over the world. It is not a place for the Tranquility Emperor's residence to show off. Get lost. The Ziwei Crown Prince frowned, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. The boy's aura was brewing, and there was a burst of popping sounds coming from his body. Barbarian slave, leave some face for the constellation of 9 heavens and the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. Just let this ant kneel down and admit his mistake, the Ziwei Crown Prince said casually. Yes, Crown Prince. The boy bowed. Then, he pointed at Su Fong again. The Crown Prince ordered you to kneel down and admit your mistake. Do you still not obey? This person was less than 4 feet tall and looked like a child. However, his tone was arrogant, and his expression was domineering. What an arrogant servant. In order to obtain the ethereal true enlightenment, The Tranquility Emperor's residence's expert Lin Yihan had forced his way into the constellation of Nine Heavens. At this moment, a servant of the Tranquility Emperor's crown prince was showing off in front of the clear sky's myriad scroll gate, provoking and humiliating him in public. Su Fang's eyes were cold and murderous. The boy looked at Su Fang with disdain. "You want to fight me? You're just a mystic immortal. I only need one punch." Pa pa pa, a burst of firecracker-like sounds erupted from his body, and his body rapidly grew taller. In an instant, he had transformed into a giant that was over 10 feet tall. His muscles bulged, and a majestic aura swept out, setting off a gust of wind. Everyone in the hall was shocked and surprised. "This person, is it a big goblin?" Suddenly, Luo Zai's voice rang out. "This person has the bloodline of the ancient giant barbarian tribe. After activating his bloodline, he is born with divine strength and can grow big goblin. This person has the terrifying power to kill immortals of the feather immortal realm. You have to be careful." Giant barbarian innate, superhuman strength Su Fang raised the corner of his mouth and jumped out from behind the table. He didn't use any of his Zhen Qi, but just threw a punch at the boy. The moment he punched, all the strength in his muscles flowed into his fist. The boy smiled malevolently and punched out in disdain. Not only was it fast, but it was also extremely ferocious. Astonishing chi scars were stirred up in the surroundings, as if a single fist could collapse a great mountain. It was truly astonishing. Bang! With the force of a thunderbolt, the two fists collided with each other, producing a loud, muffled boom. The entire hall shook along with the rumbling. A second ago, the boy, who had turned into a giant, still had a smug expression on his face, but a moment later, he found that his divine strength couldn't move his opponent at all. Instead, he took a few steps back. The boy's eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. The elites in the main hall were also surprised and shocked. "This person is quite interesting." Long Xiaojuan's eyes flashed. Huang Lingyao lowered his voice. "As far as I know, this person once cultivated an ancient body technique in the lower world. I didn't expect him to be so powerful now." Long Xiaojun frowned. "I underestimated him before. It's a bit troublesome to get the ethereal enlightenment from him." Huang Lingyao smiled. "Although this person has some small tricks, they're nothing compared to you. If he knows what's good for him, it'll be fine if he gives up the ethereal enlightenment. If not," in the blink of an eye, a gust of wind blew under Su Fang's feet as he stepped out nimbly. Taking advantage of the boy's retreating body, he grabbed his right palm. "This hand was pointing at me just now. Destroy it as punishment," Su Fang said domineeringly. He suddenly exerted force in his hand. Crack! The boy's hand was instantly broken, and he screamed. The boy roared angrily. His muscles turned blood red, as if they contained shocking energy. It turned out that this person had burned his ancient bloodline and was ready to fight with all his strength. Like a war god from the wilderness, he strode towards Su Fang. Life form. Su Fang didn't want to continue fighting with the boy. The other party was just a servant. Fighting with him was a disgrace to his status. In an instant, the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda flew out of the heavenly creation cauldron and entered Su Fang's body. Su Fang didn't want to expose his full strength. This time, he didn't use his full strength in activating his life form. He only activated the power of a few great masters. Layers of pagoda doors suddenly opened in his body with a terrifying momentum. The divine power immediately escaped into Su Fang's flesh and blood and true qi. The masters inside also entered a state of battle. They poured their magic power and true qi into the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. The true qi and magic power of the great monk and other masters entered the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. After being integrated by the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda, it penetrated into Su Fang's blood, flesh, and true qi in one go. At this moment, the boy transformed into a giant and punched Su Fang in the chest. This was to blow Su Fang up. Star Essence Hollow Fist. Suddenly, a dazzling starlight aura was released from Su Fang's right arm. Boom! An astonishing starlight fist mark surged out of his fist. The boy staggered backward. Blood gushed out of the muscles all over his body. In the end, he fell to the ground like a mountain. His body slid on the ground. His body quickly shrank and became the size of a child. He was only half alive. Everyone was shocked. Crown Prince Ziwei was furious. A divine power spread out and was about to attack. Su Fong, you are the master. How can you lower yourself and punish a servant personally? A cold voice, as pleasant as an oriole's, came from outside the hall. So it turned out, Fairy Xuanxin had arrived. Looking at Crown Prince Ziwei, Fairy Xuanxin's eyes suddenly became cold. Your Highness, you came from afar to the clear sky's myriad scroll door as a guest, but you let your servant humiliate my dual cultivation partner. What is the reason for this? Strong and domineering. She was no longer a weak woman. All the elites were shocked. Su Fong was also stunned. So it's Fairy Xuanxin. Crown Prince Ziwei slowly withdrew his aura. Crown Prince Ziwei had asked his servant to attack, just now, to test Su Fong. Now that Su Fong had the strong support of Fairy Xuanxin, would he really dare to fight with Fairy Xuanxin in the clear sky's myriad scroll door? Looking at Su Fong, Crown Prince Ziwei said domineeringly, I will spare your life today for the sake of Fairy Xuanxin. In the future, I will definitely pay you back tenfold. Su Fong replied coldly, I will be waiting for you at any time. Crown Prince Ziwei left in a huff. This person came with a strong aura, but ended up like this. He could not help but feel dejected. The peerless geniuses from all over the world looked at Su Fong differently. Su Fong said to Fairy Xuanxin with his primordial spirit, Fairy, why are you here? Fairy Xuanxin replied, The peerless geniuses from all over the world have gathered here. You can handle it. If you are humiliated, I will also lose face. Also, this is to repay Ghostface Rakshasa for saving my life. Su Fong finally understood. She had specially come to support the situation. Who knew? Fairy Xuanxin generously held Su Fong's hand and walked towards the main seat. Women are indeed born to be good at acting. Su Fong was stunned, and then he smiled bitterly, like a marionette. In the eyes of everyone, this scene was like a swan holding a toad. It was very strange, but also very shocking and unexpected. Buzz. Whispers could be heard in the hall. This be *TCH. Although Yin Sun Shin did not say anything, his heart was filled with killing intent. Li Qianxi and the other genius disciples from the constellation of 9 heavens and the clear sky's myriad scroll door were jealous and hateful. Their eyes were burning with anger. The other peerless geniuses who admired Fairy Xuanxin, including the 10 young masters, were also disappointed. Some were even jealous. Su Fong and Fairy Xuanxin held hands and sat down on the main seat. Ha! Someone slammed the table and stood up, attracting everyone's attention. A jade-faced man in his 30s suddenly stood up. It was Lang Liyun. Looking at Su Fong, Lang Liyun no longer looked like a gentleman. He said loudly, Fairy Xuanxin is a woman. What right do you have to be her Tao companion? I, Lang Liyun, am the first to disagree. If you are really a man, stand up and fight me. Fairy Xuanxin shouted coldly. Lang Liyun, who I choose to dual cultivate with, is my business. What does it have to do with you? Fairy Xuanxin, you already know that I, Lang Liyun, admire you. In the past, my strength and status were not as good as the 10 young masters. I have nothing to say when you rejected me. However, Lang Liyun's gaze swept past the divine palace young master, Shuiyu, and the rest. Finally, he looked at Fairy Xuanxin and said, 10 years ago, I challenged one of the 10 young masters, the peerless genius Golden Rock Young Master. I defeated him. Now, I have the right to be one of the 10 young masters. Everyone was shocked. 10 young masters, the Golden Rock Young Master, was a peerless genius in the sky-bearing great world. While his fame and strength could not be compared to the Ziwei Crown Prince, Long Xiaojun, or the Divine Palace Young Master, he was not weaker than the Shui Young Master. Lang Liyun's background was not ordinary. Now that he defeated the Golden Rock Young Master, he indeed had the right to be one of the 10 young masters. From the depths of Su Fong's body, Law said, Su Fong, you have met a strong opponent this time. Su Fong was full of fighting spirit. this is also an opportunity. Just now, I only used the Z-Wei Crown Prince's servant to establish my prestige. It is far from enough. I can use this Lang Liyun to establish my reputation. At this time, Fairy Xuanxin coldly said, "So what? This one is infatuated with the fairy and has admired her for a long time. I hope to become the fairy's Tao companion." I asked the fairy to agree. Lang Liyun said loudly. This person's face was not ordinary. Su Fang's eyebrows curled up, and her eyes exuded a cold chill. Law ridiculed him from inside. "What's wrong? Do you feel uncomfortable with another man pursuing Fairy Xuanxin?" Su Fang coldly responded, "In any case, Fairy Xuanxin is my dual cultivation partner in name." This person actually confessed his love to Fairy Xuanxin in front of me. Such a shame and humiliation. How many men can bear this Lang Liyun's shamelessness? I will use him as a stepping stone for my fame. Bai Ling's fierce voice also came from the crucible transformation realm, instigating Su Fang. "Beat this gigolo ruthlessly. He dares to steal my brother's wife. He is courting death." Fairy Xuanxin coldly said, "Lang Liyun, even if you become an immortal emperor, I will not take a second look at a fickle person like you. What's more, I already have a dual cultivation Tao companion now. You should give up as soon as possible." Lang Liyun seemed to have lost his soul. With a heartbroken look, "You rejected me. If you chose one of the other 10 young masters, then it's fine. But why did you choose a Xian immortal trash? Who are you? If it weren't for your family background, you wouldn't even be able to reach the Xian immortal realm. How dare you call me trash?" Su Fang looked at Lang Liyun and said coldly, "If he killed this country bumpkin." Lang Liyun's eyes lit up, and his spirit suddenly rose, as if he saw hope. Chapter 1191. Since you dare to speak, then step out and fight with me. Don't hide behind a woman and be a coward. Lang Liyun challenged. Next, Lang Liyun mocked. "I heard that you entered the 9-heaven starry palace to cultivate for less than 300 years, and you're already at the mystic immortal realm. This is your ability to be arrogant. In order to convince you wholeheartedly, I suppress my cultivation to the mystic immortal realm. If you can win, I will immediately leave the clear skies myriad scroll door. In the future, if I see Fairy Xian Xian, I will immediately take a detour. If not, you will cancel your marriage with Fairy Xian Xian. If you lose, you just have to leave. If I lose, I have to pay such a price. Lang Liyun, you really have a good plan. My marriage with Fairy Xuanxin not only concerns our two sects, but it also concerns her future happiness. How can I use it as a bet? You don't dare. It is not that I don't dare, but that I don't care. You can't beat me at all. Don't you just want to fight me and humiliate me? I will give you a chance. If you can touch my clothes, then you win." Su Fang's domineering voice landed. He flew up from the main seat and charged towards Lang Liyun. Arrogant, Lang Liyun released his aura. As expected, he suppressed his cultivation to Xian Celestial Realm. However, he was at the peak of Xian Celestial Realm. This person's true cultivation was at World Celestial Realm. His ability to form seals was far from what Xian Celestial Realm cultivators could compare to. Hence, in the eyes of the others, Lang Liyun definitely had Su Fang under control. Su Fang's words were just a joke. Who knew? Su Fang shot out hundreds of highly toxic rune talismans from dozens of feet away. They were densely packed, and there were hundreds of them. These runes looked extremely bloody and evil. They shouldn't have appeared in the banquet hall of the Clear Skies 10,000 scroll door. The poison runes exploded, turning into rolling poison mist and poison blood that wrapped around Lang Liyun. Gui's strength had increased, and her ability to create poison runes had increased by a lot. The strength of the runes had also increased. If Lang Liyun used his true strength, these highly toxic rune talismans wouldn't be able to do anything to him. At most, they would only create some trouble for him. However, now that he had suppressed his cultivation, it was a little strenuous for him to deal with so many poisonous runes. He activated his magical powers and released his aura, barely managing to resolve the first wave of attacks. Who knew it was as if the poison pattern talismans were free. Wave after wave, The poisonous gas and the poisonous blood surged like waves. Su Fang, you're so shameless. If you have guts, fight me head-on. Lang Liyun used his divine ability to dissolve the poison gas attack and roared furiously. Shameless Su Fang sneered. Chun Shi had suppressed his cultivation to the mysterious immortal realm, and if he wasn't afraid of being exposed, Su Fang would have been able to kill him in a short period of few breaths of time. Talisman inscriptions were also the means of cultivators, so how could they be shameless? You don't like poison runes, do you? Then flying swords shot out from his palms. 1, 2, 10, 50. Chi, chi, chi. More than 100 flying swords, densely packed, stacked, and endless, converging into a sword river. With a whistling sound, they gathered a terrifying and sharp aura and charged towards Lang Liyun. In an instant, everyone in the main hall felt their scalps go numb, and they were even more shocked. Although the flying swords were low-grade goods, more than 100 flying swords were not 100 straws. What kind of amazing ability to control Dharma treasures would that require? Even a peerless expert in the world immortal realm wouldn't dare to say that he could control 100 flying swords at the same time. This person, his ability to control Dharma treasures, was simply heaven-defying. Everyone was shocked, and they couldn't believe their eyes. Fairy Xuanxin's eyes were filled with shock, as if it was the first time she had seen Su Fang, and her previous impression of him had been completely overturned. Lang Liyun was completely dumbfounded, and his entire body emitted cold air. The powerful aura exploded, shattering the sword river. Most of the flying swords were shattered into pieces, and a few fell to the ground. However, this was clearly the aura of a peerless expert in the world immortal realm. Lang Liyun, one of the 10 great young masters, had lost. Buzz. Waves of discussion sounded in the main hall again. What kind of cultivation technique is this person cultivating? He can actually control 100 flying swords at the same time. This Su Fang has such an amazing ability to control Dharma treasures. With his cultivation at the mystic immortal realm, I'm afraid he can activate a high-grade Dao artifact. He's not inferior to an elder. It's simply terrifying. The strength of an immortal isn't just about controlling Dharma treasures. Cultivation realm, divine ability, and aura are the most important. What's the use of just controlling Dharma treasures? Exclamations. Disdain. Of course, there were also those who were unconvinced. Su Fang said in a majestic voice, Lang Liyun, what else do you have to say now? Su Fang, I admit defeat. Fairy Xuanxin has good taste. You are indeed qualified to dual cultivate with Fairy Xuanxin. Lang Liyun looked dispirited, like a frosted eggplant. He cupped his fists towards Su Fang, then turned and walked out of the main hall. Suddenly, Su Fang said domineeringly, Lang Liyun, you publicly expressed your love for my dual cultivation partner and humiliated me like this. Now that you've lost to me, have you forgotten what you said before you attacked? Are you planning to leave just like this? Kneel down and admit your mistake. Lang Liyun shouted in exasperation. I'm one of the 10 great young masters, a peerless genius. You dare to ask me to kneel down? Why would I kneel to you? Su Fang coldly formed a seal, and the remaining intact flying swords on the ground suddenly shot towards Lang Liyun like lightning. Lang Liyun was very disdainful. He casually released his divine power, blocking the flying swords outside his aura field. Unexpectedly, one of the flying swords only paused for a moment. Under Su Fang's control, it suddenly released a sharp sword intent, tearing apart Lang Liyun's aura field. A peak mid-grade flying sword. Lang Liyun was in disbelief. Only the Great Elder could control a peak mid-grade flying sword. His opponent was only at the mystic immortal realm. Caught off guard, the flying sword pierced Lang Liyun's left calf, and blood splattered everywhere. Puff! Lang Liyun knelt on one knee. What a ruthless brat! Lang Liyun roared fiercely. He released his divine power and was about to attack Su Fang. Fairy Xuanxin coldly shouted, Lang Liyun, have you caused enough trouble? Do you want the experts of the clear sky, Thousand Scroll Gate, to chase you away? Su Fong, I, Lang Liun, will remember you. Lang Liun angrily stared at Su Fong. In the end, he didn't dare to make a move and left dejectedly. Su Fong, Lang Liun is one of the 10 great young masters. You humiliated him like this, which is the same as humiliating all of the 10 great young masters. I, young master Shuiyu, will ask for an explanation on behalf of Lang Liun. A proud figure walked out. This person was wearing a snow-white robe. He had an extraordinary temperament and carried an innate arrogance. He was one of the 10 great young masters, young Master Shuiyu. Su Fong coldly laughed. According to young Master Shuiyu, Lang Liun can look down on me and humiliate me, and I can only accept it obediently. If I hurt him, I will have offended young Master Shuiyu. How overbearing. No matter what, you used despicable methods to humiliate Lang Liun, which is the same as humiliating the 10 great young masters. For the reputation of the 10 great young masters, I, young Master Shuiyu, will challenge you. Do you dare to accept? Young Master Shuiyu arrogantly looked at Su Fong. Everyone in the hall immediately became spirited. Just now, Su Fong had punished the Ziwei Crown Prince's servant boy and defeated Lang Liun. The boy had innate divine power, and Lang Liun had suppressed his realm. He couldn't test Su Fong's strength at all. At most, he could see that his divine power was extraordinary and that he had a shocking ability to control magic treasures. Now that young Master Shuiyu had appeared, Su Fong could only be a coward. As long as he fought with young Master Shuiyu, he would definitely reveal everything. Moreover, Lang Liun was forced to kneel, which made all the peerless geniuses very unhappy. They lost face and didn't recognize Su Fong's strength at all. They couldn't wait for someone to stand up and challenge him. Fairy Xuanxin quickly transmitted a message to Su Fong. Su Fong, although young Master Shuiyu is ranked at the bottom of the 10 great young masters, his strength is only slightly weaker than the elders. Moreover, he comes from the Celestial Moon Palace, a top force in the frozen snow great world. His snow moon heaven illusion technique is famous in the immortal region. You're not his match. Don't accept his challenge. The 10 great young masters were peerless geniuses in the 8 great worlds, immortal lands, or cultivation forces. However, the 10 great young masters' strength was uneven. Those who were ranked at the top were at the same level as the great elder, such as the Ziwei Crown Prince and Long Xiaojun. Those who were ranked at the bottom were at the same level as the special disciples of the Star Palace. Young Master Shuiyu is ranked at the bottom. I will let this young Master Shuiyu become my reputation. Su Fong activated his full circle ability and swept it over young Master Shuiyu's body. He judged that young Master Shuiyu's cultivation should be at the peak of the 9th Dao realm of the Feather Immortal Realm. Su Fong was confident that even if he couldn't win, he wouldn't suffer a crushing defeat even if he didn't use the Underworld Blood Sea. Young Master Shuiyu is a guest. Since you are interested, how can I, Su Fong, not accompany you? Su Fong said cheerfully. Fairy Xuanxin frowned slightly, but didn't say anything to stop Su Fong. She felt that she couldn't see through Su Fong anymore. A mystic immortal challenging one of the 10 great young masters, young Master Shuiyu. He was lucky to win against Lang Liun just now. He is really getting complacent. Apart from one person in the main hall, no one was optimistic about Su Fong's chances. That person was Lien Chongxian. He had fought against Su Fong before, but he couldn't do anything to Su Fong. Although young Master Shuiyu was stronger than Lien Chongxian didn't think that Su Fong would definitely lose. Everyone arrived at the plaza of the Green Cloud Divine Platform. Su Fong, show me your full strength. Let me see what qualifications you have to become Fairy Xuanxin's dual cultivation Dao companion. Young Master Shuiyu released his divine power. A cold aura enveloped the entire Green Cloud Divine Platform. It was as if they had suddenly arrived in an ice field. The spectators all circulated their true qi and released their auras to resist the cold. You want me to show you my full strength? Let's see if you have the strength to do so, Su Fong said domineeringly. He activated the 9 Yang True Fire and dispersed the cold shackles that enveloped his body. Shameless boasting. Young Master Shui Yu formed a seal. His aura suddenly became much stronger. The temperature suddenly dropped. Snowflakes floated down from the sky. It was as if it was the 12th lunar month of winter. Of course, these weren't real snowflakes. They were young Master Shui Yu's heaven and earth essence extraction. He used his divine ability to condense the heaven and earth spirit chi to form an attack. Snow congealing slash. Chi, the snowflakes suddenly condensed into a huge flying sword filled with cold chi. It ruthlessly slashed towards Su Fong. Su Fong suddenly formed a seal and released a desolate aura. It turned into a surging nebula. This was the constellation of nine heavens' strongest offensive divine ability, the extreme nebula art. Chi, the nebula rolled and resisted the snowflake sword. Soon, the sword shrank by more than half. The nebula formed by the aura was torn apart. Su Fong continuously formed poison runes. Only then did the snowflake sword dissipate. The constellation of nine heavens' extreme nebula art is only SOSO. It can't even block the most ordinary divine ability of the celestial moon palace, young Master Shui Yu mocked. The disciples of the constellation of nine heavens were very dissatisfied. Li Qianqi said angrily, Su Fong, the extreme nebula art is the supreme divine ability of the celestial palace. How can it be so weak in your hands? Don't embarrass yourself in front of others. Even the sect's reputation will be damaged. Chapter 1192. Young Master Shui Yu continued to form seals. His aura transformed into a giant snow dragon with rolling snowflakes. It circled above Su Fong's head, and a majestic and cold divine aura shackled Su Fong. Young Master Shui Yu secretly sent a message to Su Fong. Hand over the ethereal true insight, and I can save your face. Otherwise, I will destroy your cultivation path. You really came for the ethereal true insight. Do you really think that I, Su Fong, am a pushover? Su Fong's eyes shone with sharpness. Su Fong did not form any seals, but a desolate aura suddenly exploded, and a giant starlight hand suddenly appeared in front of him. Hiss! Young Master Shui Yu's divine aura shackles were torn apart, and the starlight hand ruthlessly slapped the snow dragon's head. Bang! The snow dragon's head was almost shattered. It turned out that Su Fong had directly used the meteor chaos technique. This offensive divine ability did not require any seals, and the attack did not have a fixed path. It was the Star Palace's supreme divine ability that used the star Dao to the extreme. Su Fong's physical body, magic power, young immortal, and primordial spirit were all very powerful, far exceeding his cultivation level. His ability to control nature was also very powerful, and he could use the meteor chaos technique to the extreme. Young Master Shui Yu hurriedly formed seals, but who knew that Su Fong's aura would be even faster? He continuously used divine abilities to defeat his divine abilities, and his attacks were fierce. Swish! Swish! Young Master Shui Yu, one of the 10 great young masters of the celestial region, was at a loss. He was no longer as arrogant as before. A mere mysterious immortal realm cultivator was actually able to force this young master to such an extent. You really aren't simple. No wonder Fairy Xian Xin chose you as her Dao companion. However, you're still far from being able to defeat me. This young master will let you know what a supreme divine ability, the Snow Moon Sky illusion technique, is. Young Master Shui Yu started to form seals, and his divine ability turned into snowflakes that filled the sky and fluttered towards Su Fong. In the next second, another crescent moon rose above young Master Shui Yu's head, emitting a bright light. The snowflakes were not only dense, but they were also like a seal that froze Su Fong's body. The light of the crescent moon was refracted by the snowflakes, causing Su Fong's mind to blur and illusions to appear in his mind. What a powerful and strange supreme supernatural power. The Celestial Moon Palace's Shui Yu Sky Illusion technique not only has the ice shackle's divine power, it can also create illusions to confuse the enemy's mind and make it impossible to guard against. Su Fong will definitely lose this time. Mysterious immortal realm cultivators are all ants before the 10 great young masters. How could Su Fong possibly be a match for young Master Xueyu? He's just overestimating his ability. Not only does Prince Xueyu want to defeat Su Fong, but he also wants to humiliate Su Fong in front of everybody. Once he's trapped in the illusion, we don't know what he will do. Everyone thought that the battle was over, so they felt disdain for Su Fong. Naturally, there was no lack of people who rejoiced in his misfortune. Fairy Xuanxin secretly formed hand seals, preparing to act at any time to resolve Su Fong's crisis. Suddenly, boom! Su Fong's arms and upper body suddenly ignited with raging flames. No, he had completely transformed into a state of flames. The shackles on his body suddenly shattered, and the surrounding snowflakes melted and dissipated into nothingness. There were also flickering flames that unknowingly affected the consciousness of young Master Xueyu's primordial spirit the moment it landed in his eyes. Whoosh! Su Fong activated the illusory fire cloud. He was like a flaming god of war, majestic and imposing as he charged towards young Master Xueyu with a shocking aura. What kind of fire element supernatural power is this? It's a bit like Huiyin Shinrikyo's worldly fire fusion technique. No, it's even more powerful. Isn't the constellation of 9 heavens focused on Star Dao? How can Su Fong grasp such a terrifying fire element supernatural power? Don't forget that this person is a special disciple of the Clear Sky 10,000 Scrolls door. The Clear Sky 10,000 Scrolls door's cultivation methods include all kinds of grandiose. So what if he grasps a supreme fire element supernatural power? Why isn't this person affected by Xueyu Heaven's illusions? That's strange. Everyone nearby was in a state of shock. Yin Senshin's eyes flashed with killing intent. I originally thought that this person was just lucky to have his current status by giving up the ethereal true record. Now it seems that I was wrong. Not only does he have the ethereal true record, but he also has some unknown secrets. I must find a way to capture him alive and force him to reveal the ethereal true record and all of his secrets. Then, he secretly communicated with Huangfu Fei using his primordial spirit to ask about Su Fong's background. At the same time, Long Xiaojun and Lai Ling Yao were also secretly communicating. The subject of their discussion was Su Fong. No one noticed that although young Master Xueyu's attacks were becoming fiercer and fiercer, there was a faint flickering flame in his eyes. His attacks were also gradually becoming more and more aimless. Suddenly, young Master Xueyu shouted coldly, "Su Fong, you should be honored to be able to force me to use my strongest divine ability, illusory moon constellation." He spread his hands, and the crescent moon above Su Fong's head spun rapidly. It carried a terrifying whistling sound as it spiraled toward its target. Young Master Xueyu's target was actually Yin Sunshin, who was watching from the side. Boom! Yin Sunshin released 2 bursts of destructive aura that shattered the crescent moon's attack. Who knew? Kill! Young Master Xueyu was like a ferocious beast as he fiercely attacked Yin Sunshin. Young Master Xueyu, are you crazy? Yin Sunshin roared as he dealt with young Master Xueyu. Boom! Boom! Young Master Xueyu didn't say anything as he fought Yin Sunshin. It was very lively. As for Su Fong, he stood with his hands clasped behind his back as if he was a bystander. Only when young Master Xueyu's magic power was exhausted did he get sealed by Yin Sunshin. Only then did the scene return to normal. Just now, young Master Xueyu had completely put his life on the line. Yin Sunshin didn't want to provoke a powerful enemy like the Immortal Moon Palace, so he could only neutralize the attacks. He didn't dare use any killing moves, so Yin Sunshin had suffered quite a bit. His flame robe had been torn, and there were several wounds that were bleeding. He looked very miserable. Looking at Su Fong, Yin Sunshin angrily said, "Su Fong, what kind of despicable method did you use on young Master Xueyu? Young Master Xueyu attacking you has nothing to do with me. Perhaps you, Yin Sunshin, did something shameful to young Master Xueyu for him to attack you. Why are you pouring dirty water on me?" Su Fong angrily replied, looking as if he had been wronged. Yin Xianxin's eyes were filled with the intent of destruction, but he quickly returned to his normal state, as if nothing had happened just now, revealing an extraordinary shrewdness. Suddenly, Xian Xian Fairy's primordial spirit voice rang out. Su Fong, you really surprised me. How much strength are you hiding? Su Fong helplessly said, in order to not ruin Fairy's reputation, Su Fong has already used all his skills. How would I dare to hide my strength? Xuanxin stared at Su Fong, as if she wanted to see through him. However, the more she looked, the more she felt that Su Fong was somewhat unfathomable. Actually, young Master Shui Yu's attack on Yin Sanxin was Su Fong's masterpiece. After fusing with the Thousand Illusion Starfire, Su Fong's illusory fire cloud had the strange ability to change unpredictably and affect the enemy's consciousness. It was also this strange ability that made young Master Shui Yu unknowingly fall for it. Moreover, under the guidance of Su Fong's Yuan spirit, Yin Sanxin became young Master Shui Yu's mortal enemy in his consciousness. Su Fong, you're getting more and more despicable, said Luo from inside Su Fong's body. Su Fong coldly replied, despicable. Compared to Yin Sanxin and Huang Fu Fei, what I did can only be considered a small matter. This time, I only created a little trouble for him. It won't be long before I defeat and kill Yin Sanxin using fair and square methods. At this time, the way the peerless geniuses looked at Su Fong had completely changed. They completely treated Su Fong as an existence on the same level. Although young Master Shui Yu's defeat was somewhat inexplicable, it was still a defeat. It was enough to prove Su Fong's strength. Moreover, Su Fong was also a special disciple of the constellation of Nine Heavens and the Clear Sky's Myriad Scroll Gate. It was enough for him to stand shoulder to shoulder with the 10 great young masters. Everyone crowded around Su Fong and Fairy Xuanxin, chatting happily. This person's talent is astonishing. In less than 10,000 years, he'll definitely stand shoulder to shoulder with the 10 great young masters. He must be eliminated as soon as possible. Yin Sanxin faintly felt a sense of danger in his heart. A trace of killing intent flashed through his eyes. Then, he secretly used his Yuan spirit to speak to Huang Fu Fei. Don't let this gathering help this person's reputation. Huang Fu Fei replied, this person is truly unexpected. However, since he dares to be impudent in front of Brother Yin, we can't tolerate him. Obtaining the ethereal true insight is our first priority. Then, we'll kill him. However, we can't let him be too complacent today. I, Yin Sanxin, will control this immortal region in the future. How dare a little ant be arrogant in front of me? Suddenly, a figure walked in front of Su Fong. I've heard that not only is young Master Su Fong's cultivation speed astonishing, but your talent in artifact forging is also astonishing. Today is a rare opportunity. Huiyin Shinrikyo's Zhu Huan would like to exchange pointers with you. I wonder if young Master Su Fong would be willing to give me this opportunity. This person was wearing a flaming Taoist robe. It was the attire of a Huiyin Shinrikyo cultivator. Moreover, he was a special disciple with quite a high status. This Zhu Huan. Su Fong activated his full circle ability and scanned this person's body. Sensing a faint great fertility purple chi on Zhu Huan's body, as well as an extremely obvious aura of the Thousand Illusion Starfire, Su Fong raised his eyebrows. This person was an expert artifact forging expert. Moreover, he had been in contact with the Thousand Illusion Starfire for a long time. That was why his body had the aura of the great fertility, purple chi, and the Thousand Illusion Starfire. In terms of artifact forging skills, the Huiyin Shinrikyo was naturally ranked first among the 4 major forces. Not only because the Huiyin Shinrikyo's disciples specialized in fire-type abilities, but also because they had seized most of the Thousand Illusion Starfire back then. Moreover, many of the elders in the sect had alien flame seeds. Naturally, their artifact forging skills were unmatched. Thousand Illusion Starfire. In the Clear Sky Thousand Scrolls Gates artifact forging dojo, he had swallowed the seed fire of the Thousand Illusion Starfire. Just thinking about it made Su Fang's fire cloud, the archbody, improve a lot. If he could fuse with the seed fire of the Huoyin Shinrikyo, just thinking about it made Su Fang's heart go wild. This person stood up to ask for pointers, but it's actually a challenge. It's obvious that he was ordered by the Yin Sun Shin. Yin Sun Shin. Su Fang glanced at Xuanxin from the corner of his eye. Seeing her cold eyes, he stood up. It seemed that the Yin Sun Shin was ready to bare its sharp fangs. Today, he would use this opportunity to teach him a lesson again. He would get back the interest from the assassination on the way here. It could also be considered as helping Xuanxin vent her anger. How should we compete? Refining a Dao artifact takes a long time. Naturally, we can't wait that long. You and I will do something simple. Let's compete in refining materials. How about it? Zhu Huan took out 2 stones that were almost the same size. They looked black and very ordinary, but there was a shocking star power coming from the stones. This is star iron from the outer realm. Su Fang had read countless books in the clear sky, Thousand Scrolls Gate, and was very familiar with all kinds of refining materials. He recognized the origin of the iron in Zhu Huan's hand at a glance. Star iron from the outer realm was a very precious and rare refining material. Its hardness was also very high, comparable to a mid-grade Dao artifact. You and I won't use a cauldron. We will use our fire elemental divine power to refine the star iron. Whoever can refine the most in 2 hours will win. Fire elemental divine power to refine the star iron. Su Fang raised the corner of his mouth and revealed a smile. He took the star iron and was about to refine it. Zhu Huan suddenly said, "If I'm lucky enough to win against young Master Su Fang, I have a presumptuous request." This person's intentions were indeed not that simple. Chapter 1193. Su Fang raised his eyebrows. He understood that Yin Senshin's revenge had come. Zhu Huan suddenly said, "Senior brother Yin Senshin and Fairy Xuanxin were once deeply in love with each other. Later on, due to certain reasons, he had no choice but to separate from Fairy Xuanxin. Senior brother Yin has always felt guilty about this. Fairy chose Su Fang as her Dao companion. She humiliated herself like this, which made senior brother Yin even more heartbroken." Whoosh, Fairy Xuanxin's body trembled. Her flawless face turned pale. "Fairy Xuanxin is humiliating herself by becoming my Dao companion. I, Su Fang, will definitely return this humiliation tenfold." Su Fang's heart was filled with killing intent. Not only did this person expose Fairy Xuanxin's scars in front of everyone, but he was also wantonly humiliating Su Fang. In a few days, it will be the joyous day of Fairy Xuanxin's Dao companion ceremony. Senior brother Yin specially asked me to take this opportunity to express my regret and apology to Fairy Xuanxin. If I am lucky enough to defeat Su Fang, I hope that Fairy Xuanxin will accept senior brother Yan's sincerity. Zhu Huan suddenly bowed to Fairy Xuanxin, who was sitting on the main seat. The moment he lowered his head, a sinister light flashed through his eyes. Whoosh, an uproar sounded on the green cloud divine platform. What a beautiful Yin Senshin! What a vicious and merciless woman! Fairy Xuanxin's body suddenly trembled. She couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of hot blood, which turned into a bloody mist. This was a great humiliation. Not only was this a humiliation to Fairy Xuanxin, but it was also a trampling and humiliation to Su Fang himself. What was even more sinister was that after being tormented by Zhu Huan, the image that Su Fang had just established after defeating young Master Shui, was completely shattered. Su Fang fiercely clenched his fists and looked coldly at Yin Sun Shin. The latter, however, stood there calmly, and there was even a hint of apology on his extraordinarily handsome face. He did not look sincere at all. Even Law, who had always been steady, spoke from within his body. Yin Senshin's scheming and methods are truly ruthless and vicious. Furthermore, this person possesses one of the 10 great Dao artifacts, the Twin Swords of Annihilation. You must eliminate this person as soon as possible. Otherwise, this person will become a formidable opponent for you. Bai Ling fiercely spoke out from within the Crucible Transformation realm. This bastard actually dared to bully my younger brother's wife. He is truly hateful. He is even more shameless than a great monk. Kill him." The big monk, who had been attacked for no reason, had an innocent look on his face. But seeing Su Fang's anger, he did not dare to say anything. Su Fang calmed his breathing and suddenly said, "Since Brother Zhu has such good intentions, I also have a suggestion. If I am lucky enough to defeat Brother Zhu, I hope," pointing at Yin Sun Shin from afar, Su Fang said in a loud voice, "I challenge you to a one-on-one battle within 100 years. You must accept." Buzz, there was another round of exclamations in the hall. He is only in the mystic immortal realm at this time, but Yin Sun-shin has already broken through to the feather immortal realm and possesses the twin swords of annihilation. Even if Su Fang's cultivation is heaven-defying, how can he be Yin Sun-shin's opponent in just 100 years? This person has been humiliated and is eager to show off in front of Fairy Xuanxin. He has already lost his mind. With such a temperament, his future achievements will be limited. The battle between the two dual cultivation partners of Fairy Xuanxin is really something to look forward to. Some people disdained Su Fang, but there were also people who looked at Su Fang in a new light. Some of the female disciples present looked at Su Fang with even more vigor. In the great immortal realm, there were almost no men who would risk their lives for a woman. This person was worthy of being called a real man. Fairy Xuanxin looked at Su Fang in surprise. Her heart was filled with warmth, and her impression of Su Fang changed again. "If you want to challenge me, you have to be qualified to do so first. You have to defeat junior brother Zhu Huan first," Yin Sun Shin said lightly. "Young Master Su Fang, it will be very difficult for you to defeat me. It is very unlikely that you will be qualified to challenge senior brother Yin. Let's begin." Zhu Huan formed a seal and activated the fire fusion art, releasing Huiyin Shinrikyo's supreme divine ability. Red flames immediately appeared between his palms, enveloping the star iron in the extraterritorial space. "I can't defeat you." Su Fang smiled coldly and activated the illusory fire cloud. Boom! His palms immediately turned into raging flames, merging the star iron into his palms. It's that divine ability again. Huiyin Shinrikyo is the best at refining artifacts, and Zhu Huan is the best at refining artifacts in the sect. Refining materials is the most basic ability of an artificer. Su Fang has only learned artificer refining for less than 100 years. How can he be a match for this person? Everyone was looking forward to it. Most of them did not think that Su Fang would win. Sizzle. The star iron was refined by Zhu Huan's fire elemental divine power, turning into droplets of molten iron that dripped onto the ground, producing sizzling sounds. Take a look at this side. Su Fang's palms had turned into a fire cloud. They could not see the star iron at all, and there were no droplets of molten iron either. This made people suspect that he could not refine the star iron at all. Undisguised and ear-piercing mocking laughter could be heard from time to time in the main hall. Fairy Xuanxin's eyes also showed disappointment. Su Fang's thoughts were not bad, but his strength was still too low. He was just asking for humiliation. An hour passed. Zhu Huan had already refined half of the star iron in his hands. The ground was filled with molten iron, which then solidified. However, Su Fang still could not refine a single drop of molten iron. "Young Master Su Fang, your artificer refining talent is not as heaven-defying as the rumors say. It seems that the rumors cannot be trusted." Zhu Huan continued to mock. "Is that so? I'm afraid that I have to disappoint you." Su Fang's palms that had turned into a fire cloud suddenly turned back into a physical body. Poof! A ball of molten iron fell onto the ground, splashing in all directions. A piece of star iron. It had all been refined into molten iron. Zhu Huan was dumbfounded. He forgot to continue activating his divine power. He did not notice the remaining half of the unrefined piece of iron falling under his feet. Shocking. Unbelievable. All the peerless geniuses craned their necks. His artificer refining talent is actually so amazing. Fairy Xuanxin was pleasantly surprised. She also found it hard to believe. As for Zhu Huan, it was as if he had been slapped hard in the face. His face turned green and white. Yin Sun Shin. "Junior brother Zhu, You can leave now." Surprise and anger flashed in his eyes. Then, he recovered his calm demeanor, as if he did not care. He said loudly, "Your artificer refining talent is indeed not bad. You're qualified to challenge me." Zhu Huan was about to leave embarrassedly. Su Fong suddenly said coldly, "Leaving just like that? What else do you want? If you sincerely wanted to spar, I naturally would not do anything to you. You jumped out and wantonly humiliated me and Fairy Xuanxin. You want to leave without giving an explanation? Do you really think that I, Su Fong, am easy to bully? Do you think that the constellation of 9 heavens and the clear sky's myriad scroll door have no one?" Feeling Su Fong's killing intent and thinking of Su Fong's ruthless methods, Zhu Huan's back trembled and broke out in a cold sweat. He turned around and fled towards Yin Sunshin, who, Su Fong used the fire cloud steps and took a few steps forward, leaving behind traces of flames. In an instant, he was behind Zhu Huan. Yin Sunshin was about to stop him when a figure flashed and released a divine power, blocking Yin Sunshin. The person who attacked was the young master of the divine palace, Gongyu. Boom! Su Fong casually waved his hand, and a palm formed from starlight struck Zhu Huan's back. Poof! Zhu Huan's internal organs were severely injured. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body was sent flying. Young Master Shengong dodged in time, and Zhu Huan happened to fall beside Yin Senshin's feet. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and it was obvious that his injuries were not light. "Young Master Shengong, I, Yin Senshin, have never offended you. Why did you stop me?" Yin Senshin looked coldly at Gongyu, and 2 sword intents filled with destructive aura swam around him. Gongyu said calmly, "Brother Yin has gone too far this time. I don't like it. If you are dissatisfied with my actions, you can challenge me at any time." Yin Senshin did not want to provoke a strong enemy like the boundless secular palace, so he transferred his anger to Su Fong. "I accept your challenge. I'm just afraid that you won't come when the time comes." "Afraid of battle?" Su Fong sneered. If there were not so many people here, it was not impossible to kill Yin Senshin with the help of his second primordial spirit. He had the twin swords of destruction, but Su Fong had the reincarnation sword and many other tricks. Why would he be afraid of Yin Senshin? Chi! A drop of blood shot out from Su Fong's finger and hovered in front of him. "I, Su Fong, hereby make a blood oath. Within 100 years, I will kill Yin Senshin, the first disciple of Huyin Shinrikyo, to wash away the hatred of this person for humiliating me and Fairy Xuanxin. Once the blood oath is made, I will not rest until one of us is dead. Heaven can be my witness." But Su Fong's voice had just faded. The drop of blood suddenly turned into a ray of blood-red light and flew out. Yin Senshin was caught off guard, and the red light went straight between his eyebrows. Blood oath. This person is crazy. He dared to make a blood oath with Yin Senshin. There was an uproar in the hall. Blood oath. It was a magic passed down from ancient times, but it did not have any power. It was just a kind of oath, a ritual to challenge one's mortal enemy. Once a blood oath was made, the oath would only be lifted when one side died, and it would not rest until one side died. Because the blood oath was too extreme, it was rarely used in ancient times. Until now, almost no one would use this method to challenge an enemy, and very few people had even heard of it. Fairy Xuanxin was also shocked, horrified, and in disbelief. Within Su Fong's body, Law asked, "Su Fong, what are you trying to do? Being impulsive is not your personality." Su Fong secretly replied, "Being impulsive means that I will have to fight with him sooner or later. Why not openly challenge him? I can step on his reputation and help myself. Besides, Fairy Xuanxin has encountered a bottleneck in her cultivation because of him. Only by killing him can it be removed. Fairy Xuanxin specially came to support me this time, so I will use Yin Senshin's life to repay this favor." Law said unhappily, "I thought you challenged Yin Senshin on impulse. I didn't expect you to have such thoughts. You are really despicable." Su Fong sneered in his heart. Despicable. Compared to Yin Senshin, I am still too far away. It's not over yet. Doesn't Yin Senshin cherish his reputation? I will expose his true colors in front of everyone. Let's see how he continues to pretend. The sword will of destruction surged in Yin Senshin's eyes. Clearly, he was furious to the extreme. He said eerily, "Very well. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Within 100 years, I will be waiting for you. I'm afraid that you will use some despicable methods again. You are such a hypocritical person. More than 10 years ago, when I came to the clear skies myriad scroll gate, you provoked the likes of Jinren, Santong, and even personally tried to kill me. What else can't you do?" Su Fong unceremoniously exposed Yin Senshin's background. However, in order to avoid embarrassing Fairy Xuanxin, he did not mention that Yin Senshin had schemed against Fairy Xuanxin. Yin Senshin's expression changed. He was about to deny it, and Tiendo, who had been silent all this time, suddenly shouted angrily, "Yin Senshin, when I fought with that black-clothed man, I suspected that you were in disguise. Now it seems that it really was you. You usually put on a dignified appearance. I didn't expect that as the #1 disciple of Huiyin Shinrikyo, you would collude with Jinren Santong, an evil cultivator. Your methods are so despicable, shameless." Everyone looked sideways. The image that Yin Senshin had built up over many years collapsed in an instant. The disciples of the clear skies myriad scroll gate and the constellation of 9 heavens looked at Yin Senshin with hostility. On the way to the clear skies myriad scroll gate, escorting Su Fong, both sects had suffered casualties. Moreover, the casualties were core disciples of high status and even special disciples. Chapter 1194. Yin Senshin's eyes twitched, and his destruction sword essence surged. He then suppressed it and said sternly, "I have always been upright and upright. I would never collude with the evil path cultivators to kill the disciples of the 2 sections. Su Fong, you are slandering me. Is that so? I have already informed Ao Tian and Zhang Hen. Not only him, Yuling Tian and the other elders from Star Palace, as well as the elders and experts from the Clear Sky, Thousand Scrolls Door, will be here soon. Yin Senshin, please explain to them," Su Fong said with a cold smile as he glanced at Lien Chongxian. "What?" Yin Senshin's expression finally changed, although he was very proud of his own strength. How could he face so many elders and experts? Once he fell into their hands, and Lien Chongxian testified, how could he explain himself? "Brother Yin, leave quickly. Once the elders from the 2 sects arrive, we will be in big trouble." Huang Fu Fei quickly transmitted a message to Yin Senshin. "Puny ant, you dare to tarnish my reputation? I will definitely tear you to shreds." Yin Xinshin's eyes were filled with killing intent as she swept her gaze at Su Fong. After that, she soared through the air. "Don't leave. Let's continue our fight." And Tiendo followed closely behind Yin Senshin. He was actually a militant. "Yin Senshin, it's fine if you don't run away. But now that you're running away with a guilty conscience, it is equivalent to confessing without being pressed. Just wait to be hunted down by the 2 sections. The constellation of 9 heavens and the clear sky, Thousand Scrolls Door, are not to be trifled with. My blood oath is on you, so I can find you at any time when you are alone." Su Fong laughed mischievously, feeling very happy in his heart. What a powerful move. Yin Senshin was not only the #1 disciple of a powerful force, he also had one of the 10 great doctrine weapons, the twin swords of destruction. He was a true genius in the macro world, and his reputation was no less than the 10 great masters. Compared to Su Fong, Yin Senshin was as dazzling as the sun, while Su Fong was as small as an ant on the ground. Today, Su Fong's strong counterattack not only helped him and Fairy Xuanxin to vent their anger, but also made Yin Senshin's head and face disgraced. He also made 2 great enemies, Star Palace and Clear Sky, Thousand Scrolls Door. Even the exceptional geniuses were impressed by Su Fong's ability to summon clouds and rain with a flip of his hand. The crowd's gaze toward Su Fong immediately changed, as if he was on par with them. After today, Su Fong's fame would definitely spread throughout the great immortal world. A peerless genius would rise to prominence. As for Huang Fu Fei, Her eyes were cold as she glared at Su Fong, her heart filled with killing intent. This time, she came forward to organize the gathering to embarrass the Su Fong, suppress the Su Fong, and regain control of the Su Fong. Unexpectedly, instead, it created a chance for Su Fong to become famous and damaged Yin Senshin's reputation, making him the public enemy of the two great forces. Huang Fu Fei's regret could be imagined. How could Su Fong not understand Huang Fu Fei's thoughts? He sneered in his heart and suddenly said, "Senior, Huang Fu Fei's expression doesn't look right. Could it be that you're not feeling well?" "That's right. Senior's sister is very close to Yin Sanshin. There are even rumors that Senior's sister and Yin Sanshin have become dual cultivation partners. Could it be that Senior's sister didn't notice Yin Senshin's wild ambition before?" Swish, swish, swish. Everyone's eyes focused on Huang Fu Fei. This was clearly setting Huang Fu Fei on fire. If this matter wasn't explained clearly, Huang Fu Fei was frightened, and she quickly denied, "Junior brother, don't talk nonsense. I only have some friendship with Yin Sanshin. Why would I become dual cultivation partners with him? If I knew that he had wild ambitions for Star Palace, I would have treated him as an enemy long ago. Why would I have any disputes with him?" "I see. In that case, junior brother, you can rest assured," Su Fong smiled faintly. He didn't expose the real face of this B*TCH for the time being. Huang Fu Fei gritted her teeth in hatred. She killed Su Fong countless times in her heart, but she had no choice but to look calm on the surface. Then, Fairy Xuanxin spoke to Huang Fu Fei with her primordial spirit. "Since you and I know each other, I won't pursue the matter of you and senior brother Gu colluding to frame me. If you don't stop before it's too late, you'll know the consequences." Huang Fu Fei shivered and broke out in cold sweat. Fairy Xuanxin, the #1 fairy, wasn't a weak woman. Then, Su Fong's gaze swept past all the exceptional geniuses. Everyone came to Qing Tian Door to participate in Su Fong and Fairy Xuanxin's wedding ceremony. If you're sincere in your congratulations, I'll be very grateful. If you're like Yin Sanshin and have designs on me, why don't you do it in front of everyone? Although Su Fong's abilities are weak, I'll take them on. The clanging sound and the overbearing aura caused the huge green cloud divine terrace to become silent. Huang Fu Lingyao suddenly spoke to Long Xiaojun with her primordial spirit. "Senior brother Long, why don't I take action against this person and test his true abilities?" Long Xiaojun thought for a while and shook his head. It seems that everyone came with sincerity. In that case, Su Fong will also treat everyone with sincerity. "Everyone, please return to the main hall. The sect has prepared some wine. Su Fong would like to have a few drinks with all the exceptional geniuses." Everyone returned to the banquet hall and chatted with each other. It was very lively. The exceptional geniuses got to know Su Fong one after another. This time, their attitudes changed greatly. They were no longer feigning civility like before. Instead, they treated him as an equal. Looking at Su Fong, who was surrounded by everyone, Fairy Xuanxin was in a daze. She couldn't connect Su Fong with the disciple from Huang Fu Dojo of Star Palace. Huang Fu Fei, on the other hand, forced a smile on his face. Even the best wine tasted exceptionally bitter in his mouth. The gathering only ended late at night. Su Fong passed through the formation and returned to his cave. Whoosh, a female figure followed closely behind. Huang Fu Lingyao. Su Fong raised his eyebrows. This woman obviously didn't follow to catch up. "Junior Su Fong, we haven't seen each other for many years since we parted in the lower realm. I didn't expect you to be so famous in the great immortal world today. I, who was once your senior in the same sect, feel honored." Huang Fu Lingyao smiled, as if they were old friends who hadn't seen each other for many years. She seemed to have completely forgotten about the grudges from the lower realm. Su Fong wouldn't be fooled by this woman's appearance. He said coldly, "Miss Huang is now the only genius nurtured by the Heavenly Law White Sun sect and the Heavenly Law Immortal World. You could be said to be the pride of the heavens. Su Fong is only relying on the ethereal truth that he got by luck in the lower realm. How can he be compared to you? Mr. Su Fong, it seems like you haven't forgotten about the past in the lower realm." Huang Fu Lingyao's cold face revealed a smile. It was very attractive. In an instant, there was a movement in the depths of his mind. Some mysterious Taoist scriptures of destiny actually appeared around his divine aperture or in the sea of magic power inside. Heaven's secret life shrinking technique. Then, there was a faint, almost undetectable aura. Moreover, some Taoist scriptures even miraculously fused together, forming the image of a black-clothed woman. The aura was a bit unfamiliar. He couldn't even remember the figure. What was especially strange was that this figure was closely fused with Huang Fu Lingyao. They were completely fused into one, and it was almost impossible to tell them apart. A Taoist scripture of destiny was currently exploding in the divine aperture's sea of primordial spirit. Then, it spiraled up and turned into a formless divine might. It swept across Huang Fu Lingyao's body with a great circle sensory ability. Shui Wuing Su Fangdao was shocked. His expression also changed. Huang Fu Lingyao asked in astonishment, "Mr. Su Fang, what's wrong?" Su Fang regained his composure. "When I met Miss Huang in the upper realm, Su Fang was momentarily overwhelmed with emotions. I somewhat forgot myself." "Is that so?" Huang Fu Lingyao pursed her lips and smiled. She clearly didn't believe him. However, she didn't continue to ask. "Su Fang." Huang Fu Lingyao suddenly changed to a primordial spirit transmission. "In the lower realm, if I offended you in any way, please forgive me. You and I both came from the lower realm and came from the same sect. Now that we're both in the upper realm, we should help each other and help each other. In the lower realm, you were once an overlord. You should know that there are no eternal enemies or eternal friends. There are only eternal benefits. What do you think? Miss Huang, if you have something to say, please say it directly. Then I won't beat around the bush. Right now, you seem to be doing well, but it's as if you're treading on thin ice. It's extremely dangerous. The reason you can have your current status is all because of the ethereal true scripture. At the same time, the ethereal true scripture will also bring you a fatal disaster. You should understand this principle. Miss Huang, what do you want to say? If you and I work together, why worry about not being able to establish a great power in this upper realm? Why do you need to rely on someone else's charity? As long as you give me a portion of the ethereal true scripture, in the future, not only the heavenly Tao White Sun sect, but even immortal Emperor Tian Ong will greatly value Junior Brother. With the support of the heavenly Tao immortal realm, when Junior Brother's wings gradually grow, it's very possible for you to become the master of a realm like the lower realm." Huang Lingyao's voice was extremely bewitching. She described a beautiful future for Su Fang. It was very tempting. She stared at Su Fang and said word by word, "Senior Brother, you're not a member of the lower realm." Su Fang was unmoved. He indifferently refused. "Su Fang doesn't dare to cooperate with Miss Huang, and I don't have the qualifications to do so. I'm greatly valued in the Star Palace and the Clear Sky Thousand Scrolls Gate. Moreover, I've become Tao companions with Fairy Xuanxin. How can I rely on other powers? I don't have as lofty ambitions as Miss Huang, and I don't want to become an overlord. Su Fang can only accept your good intentions." Huang Lingyao's beautiful brows slightly knitted. Then she smiled sweetly. "It seems that you have a beauty, and your heroic ambitions are lacking. In that case, I won't force you. However, as long as you secretly give me a copy of the ethereal true record, I'll allow Junior Brother to raise any conditions for cultivation techniques, treasures, or Tao artifacts." Su Fang resolutely refused. With the strength of the heavenly Tao immortal realm, if they want the ethereal true record, they can directly pressure the constellation of 9 heavens. As for me, I'll forget about it. If the sect finds out, there will be no place for me in the great immortal realm. Are you really not going to think about it carefully? Su Fang has thought about it very clearly. Don't mention this matter again. I've continuously fought with people in today's gathering. I'm a bit tired. I'm going back to my cave to rest. After Su Fang left, Huang Lingyao's eyes exuded coldness. She sent out a primordial spirit transmission. "Senior Brother Long, Junior Sister is useless. I didn't succeed. This person's schemes are extraordinary. he naturally won't easily agree to hand over the ethereal true record. Junior sister Huang doesn't need to blame yourself. This person doesn't accept the toast. There will be a day when he will regret it. Let him be proud for a few days. Sooner or later, he will be eliminated. And didn't we make a wasted trip this time? Whether it's through trickery or forceful means, we must obtain the ethereal true record. Long Xiaojuan's domineering voice sounded. Huang Lingyao looked at Su Fang's departing figure. Killing intent flashed across her eyes. Su Fang returned to his cave abode. Law suddenly spoke from the blood jade in the depths of his body. What did you see on Huang Lingyao's body? The fact that the heavenly secret life shrinking technique can produce Shui Wuying's Dao rune on Huang Lingyao's body can only mean one thing. Shui Wuying has already been devoured by Huang Lingyao, or Huang Lingyao has been devoured by Shui Wuying. However, the possibility of this is not high. No wonder Huang Lingyao's desolate physique has evolved into a supreme Dao physique. It's also no wonder that Shui Wuying was the one who controlled the lightning sword back then. Now, it has fallen into Huang Lingyao's hands, and Shui Wuying has disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1195. In order to achieve great things, Yin San Xin could lower himself to pursue Fairy Xuanxin, and then ruthlessly abandon her. Junior brother Yu Jingyan threatened his position, and he did not hesitate to eliminate him. However, compared to Huang Lingyao could even devour her own sister. Her ambition, boldness, ruthlessness, and decisiveness were much more than Yin San Xin. Law said faintly in his body, "A great man must be ruthless. This is the heart of the strong." It used to be Yin San Xin, and now there's Huang Lingyao. Do you understand? If you want to achieve great things and become a peerless powerhouse, you have to be more ruthless than them. There was a moment of silence. Su Fang's eyes were filled with determination and ambition, as well as a strong will. I understand, but I won't learn from them. In order to achieve great things, I can be ambitious, ruthless, and insidious. However, in order to achieve great things, stepping on the corpses of my family and friends is against my Dao heart. I can't do it, and I don't care to do it. I'm not Yin San Xin, nor am I Huang Lingyao. I have my own path. I, Su Fang, don't want to be a lonely tyrant. I want my family and friends to accompany me all the way. I want to sweep away all obstacles in front of me with my own ability and become a supreme powerhouse. Su Fang's voice was full of ambition. Bai Ling in the Crucible Transformation Realm said, "This is my brother. He is ruthless to his enemies, but affectionate and righteous to his family and friends." Green Feather King also said, "If it weren't for this king wouldn't have followed him from the small world until now, and wouldn't have been willing to sacrifice himself to save him in the Xinjia Gate." Law seemed to be shocked by Su Fang's words and no longer said anything. Buzz, he took out a rune talisman. It turned out to be the voice of the Divine Palace Young Master, Gong Yu. "Young Master Su Fang, Gong Yu is here to visit. Sorry to disturb you." Gong Yu, this young master, came from the mysterious Divine Palace family and had a great relationship with the boundless secular palace. Moreover, this person had specially sent the red kite to infiltrate Su Fang's side, snatching away the palace feather from the boundless secular palace, and almost killing Su Fang. At today's gathering, the young master of the Divine Palace had repeatedly expressed goodwill to Su Fang, which was not strange at all. As a result, Su Fang met with the young master of the Divine Palace. Following Gong Yu was a plain-clothed woman with an ordinary appearance. She was Red Kite, who had disguised herself and infiltrated Su Fang. Red Kite, although her identity was only a maid of the young master of the Divine Palace, her strength was not ordinary. In the past, she was unfathomable in the eyes of Su Fang, but now, she was no longer in the eyes of Su Fang. This woman had never expected that the disciple with a different surname, who had been bullied by everyone in Huangfu Dojo, would reach such a high level. She was very nervous. Su Fang was vigilant and murderous. He was also trying to guess the intentions of the young master of the Divine Palace. He also wanted to take the opportunity to inquire about the Red Dust Palace. Since it was related to the origin of the Dharma spirit of purple clouds, he had to be careful. Suddenly Pa, the young master of the divine palace, Gong Yu, slapped Red Kite's face. He did not hold back. The latter staggered and fell to the ground, spitting out blood. Please forgive me, young master. Red Kite knelt and begged for mercy. She did not even dare to wipe the blood from the corner of her mouth. Gong Yu looked at Su Fong and said apologetically, Red Kite attacked young master Su Fong before and almost killed you. This time, I brought her here specially to let young master punish her. Red Kite knelt in front of Su Fong and said, I was blind before and offended young master. Please punish me if you want to beat me or kill me. Su Fong directly exposed their tricks and said coldly, Young master of the divine palace must have come for the true ethereal enlightenment. Why do you have to put on a show for me? Young master Su Fong, please excuse me. Gong Yu laughed and waved his hand to let Red Kite rise. He looked very straightforward and bold. Then he went straight to the point and said, Since young master Su Fong is straightforward, I will not beat around the bush. The true ethereal enlightenment is very important to the divine palace. It can be said that we are determined to get it. Young master Su Fong, if you have any conditions, please state them. Su Fong said indifferently, Once the true ethereal enlightenment is revealed in my hands, not only will I lose my position, but the sect will even take my life. In young master's opinion, the true ethereal enlightenment is very important to the divine palace. Is Su Fong's life not important? This, Gong Yu was speechless. Who knew? Su Fong suddenly used his nascent spirit to say, As long as the divine palace shows enough sincerity, Su Fong can take the risk and give young master a copy of the true ethereal enlightenment. It is not impossible. Young master Su Fong, please state your conditions, Gong Yu said in surprise. Su Fong asked in reply, Young master must have fused with the 3 palace feathers of the boundless secular palace. Have you found the boundless secular palace? Yes. Gong Yu's eyes flashed with light. However, he still answered truthfully, This young master has indeed fused with the 3 palace feathers. However, the boundless secular palace has disappeared in the infinite world. It is very difficult to find it. Then he stared at Su Fong and asked, Young master Su Fong, why do you ask this? I have a damaged magic weapon that is very important to me. I need to find the boundless secular palace to figure out its origin and then complete it. My original plan was that if the celestial palace could find the boundless secular palace, they would take me with them to the boundless secular palace to figure out the origin of my magic weapon. In exchange, I would give the young master a copy of the ethereal enlightenment. Su Fong's words were naturally half true and half false. Then he said in disappointment, Since the divine palace can't find the missing boundless secular palace, it seems that we can't make an exchange. After a moment of silence, Gong Yu said solemnly, The divine palace has found clues about the boundless secular palace and is confident that it can be found within 100 years. Is that so? This is a top secret of the divine palace clan. How could this young master lie? When we find the boundless secular palace, it is not impossible to take young master Su Fong there. However, the divine palace clan is closely related to the former boundless secular palace. All the inheritance in the boundless secular palace belongs to the divine palace clan. Don't have any other ideas. I entered the boundless secular palace just to find the origin of my important magic weapon. How could I covet the inheritance of the boundless secular palace and provoke a top force like the divine palace for no reason? However, when I enter the boundless secular palace, I will give the true ethereal enlightenment to the divine palace clan. Please forgive me. It's a deal. The two high-fived and agreed on the deal. Whoosh! Gong Yu and Red Kite left the clear sky's myriad scroll door. Red Kite, I hit you just now. You won't hold a grudge against this young master, right? At this time, Gong Yu is no longer the modest young master, but a domineering, peerless master. Red Kite hurriedly saluted. Even if Palace Master wants Red Kite to die, Red Kite will not frown. Su Fong wants to enter the boundless secular palace. What is his purpose? Gong Yu's deep eyes revealed a domineering luster under his sword-like eyebrows. Compared to Palace Master, This person is just an ant. No matter what his purpose is, after we get the true ethereal enlightenment, we could just kill him directly. Palace Master doesn't need to worry about anything. Red Kite's tone was full of disdain for Su Fong. In her mind, only Gong Yu could be called a peerless genius. Everyone else was just an ant. Don't underestimate Su Fong. This person can rise in such a short period of time. He must have extraordinary ability and luck. When this young master rebuilds the boundless secular palace, or even surpasses it, the so-called 10 great young masters are just a bunch of ants. Even immortal emperor powerhouses will be trampled under my feet. Gong Yu said majestically, revealing a domineering aura. Hua hua. The surrounding starlight suddenly tore. Gong Yu rolled up his long sleeve and took Red Kite inside. Clear sky, myriad scroll door. Su Fong's cave residence. Crucible transformation world. Green Feather King praised. Boy, Su Fong, since you entered the Star Palace, you have always been walking on thin ice. You have suffered all kinds of humiliation, but your fighting spirit has never diminished. Today, you can finally hold your head high. This king can also vent his anger. Bai Ling beamed with joy. My brother, how can you be an ordinary person? You can become an overlord in a small world. How can you be a fish in a pond in a big world? Although the strength of the great monk and other experts was not bad, the 10 great young masters of the great immortal world were existences that they needed to look up to. Today, even Prince Ziwei of the Tranquility Emperor's Mansion was ruthlessly humiliated by Su Fong, making them admire Su Fong from the bottom of their hearts. If they followed such a master, they would not have to worry about not having a good life in the future. Suddenly, Law's voice came from a blood jade. More importantly, you also got the news of the boundless secular palace. The purple chi magic spirit is very important to you. With the purple chi magic spirit, your luck will be stronger than anyone else's. I will also be tainted by your luck. Maybe one day I will be able to recover. Su Fong was not complacent. Without strength and background, I will only be bullied and trampled on. My strength is only enough to stand firm in the great immortal world. My enemies are the Tranquility Emperor's Mansion and the Heavenly Law immortal world. My strength is far from enough to compete with them. Law praised. Good. You haven't lost your head yet. The danger you are in is not over yet. The 8 forces are still eyeing the ethereal true enlightenment covetously. If people know that the Yellow Spring Great Emperor's inheritance fell into your hands, even the 2 major sects can't protect you. They might even take the inheritance directly from you. You are right. I must digest the Great Emperor's inheritance as soon as possible. Only then can I have the capital to compete with the major forces, gradually establish a force under my control, and finally take back the purple chi magic spirit from immortal Emperor Tianong. Su Fong's goal was very clear. Chi, tribulation chi, suddenly exploded in his body. He was about to break through. Su Fong was in disbelief. How long had it been since he advanced to the 6 paths profound immortal realm? Law spoke again from the depths of his body. You have fused with the 1,000 illusion star fire, and your body has become even more profound. With a large number of pills, and the heaven and earth spirit chi in the clear sky myriad scroll door is so abundant. What's so strange about breaking through now? This is simply too good. Then he charged again from the soles of his feet to the top of his head, from the top of his head to the rest of his body. With a huff, the flames burned crazily. They were all tribulation flames, forming a burning momentum on his body. After the flames, his body began to shatter. The impurities in the placenta continued to surge out. He felt that all the bones in his body were shattering, as if they were about to explode. Gritting his teeth, after 3 days, the tribulation flames slowly disappeared. He had entered a new realm, the 7 paths profound immortal realm. Not only did his body transform, his meridians were reborn, his golden origin core, and his divine aperture were all transforming. His primordial spirit and the 2nd primordial spirit were also transforming. Next, Su Fong swallowed pills, spiritual items, and activated the ethereal true enlightenment. He absorbed the surrounding natural energy and began to crazily increase his true qi. Unfortunately, Su Fong didn't have the time to stabilize the normal state of the seven paths profound immortal realm because the day of the wedding ceremony had arrived. Su Fong, come here. Many higher-ups of the Star Palace are waiting for you to head to the venue of the ceremony. The voice of a primordial spirit passed through the void outside the Dao Hall and directly entered the cave, entering Su Fong's mind. Proud heaven, everlasting hatred. Huff, Su Fong let out a long breath. The wedding ceremony with Fairy Xuanxin had begun. Chapter 1196. Whoosh. Cultivators in starry robes passed through the array formations of the clear skies, thousand scrolls door. The two grand elders took the lead, followed by the other elders and disciples. There were more than 1,000 people, and the constellation of 9 heavens could be said to have sent out all their elites. Su Fong followed closely behind the two grand elders, like stars surrounding the moon. He was definitely the main character today. Central blue sky. Everyone, please follow me. Kong Yuanqing and the other elders of the clear skies, thousand scrolls door, who had been waiting here for a long time, brought everyone to a secret realm. They formed a seal, and a passage appeared in the array formation. This place was called Qinyan Waterfall. The nebula condensed by the supreme, divine ability flowed down from the void like a waterfall from outer space. The nebula rolled down majestically, covering an area of 1,000 miles. It was a magnificent sight. Above the nebula, there was a palace with a high platform. Countless people gathered in front of it. They were the representatives of the 8 forces who had come to watch the ceremony. They were all peerless experts. The people of the constellation of 9 heavens appeared at Qinyan Waterfall. Nearly 100,000 disciples of the clear skies, thousand scrolls door, cupped their fists together and shouted, "Welcome, distinguished guests of the constellation of 9 heavens. Welcome, young Master Su Fong." Swish, swish, swish. Countless gazes fell on Su Fong, making him the center of attention. At the same time, it also brought him great pressure. It was almost difficult for him to breathe. He circulated his true qi to release his aura, and only then did he feel slightly relieved. What a grand scene! Everyone came to the audience seats and sat down. Crown Prince Wei, who was dressed in snow-white clothes, glanced coldly at Su Fong. Crown Prince Wei, the peerless experts of the Tranquility Emperor's residence, Lin Yihan and Yin Mo, Su Fong raised his eyebrows. Then, more experts appeared, as well as many familiar faces. The Lord of 5 Poisons, Li Haojia, and that white transformation immortal lord have also come. Seeing the Lord of 5 Poisons and Li Haojia, Su Fong was very surprised and delighted. Su Fong, you're the best. I can't believe you managed to get your hands on Fairy Xuanxin, the #1 fairy. I'm ashamed of my inferiority. Fortunately, you didn't go to the White Cloud Immortal Palace with us back then. The Lord of 5 Poisons transmitted his voice through vital spirit. He was very excited. Brother Fong, congratulations. Li Haojia was also very happy. Su Fong saluted the Lord of 5 Poisons, Li Haojia, and Bai Hua, immortal lord, from afar. "This brat is arrogant," said the Ziwei Crown Prince angrily. "He's just an ant. Your Highness, there's no need to care about him. Obtaining the ethereal true insight is the most important thing. As for this brat, it's best if you can take him away. If you can't, then just kill him," said Lin Yihan domineeringly. "The constellation of 9 heavens thinks that just because they formed an alliance with the clear skies myriad scroll gate, they can contend against my Tranquility Emperor's estate. What a joke. I'll teach them a lesson later." The Ziwei Crown Prince coldly snorted and didn't say anything else. A cold gaze pierced through the Huiyin Shinrikyo's crowd and landed on Su Fong. This person wore a flaming robe, and from his appearance, he seemed to be an ordinary disciple. "If it weren't for you, how could I, Yin Sun Shin, not even dare to reveal my true appearance and sneak around?" So this person was the Yin Sun Shin. The yellow-robed, Long Xiaojun seemed a bit absent-minded. Clearly, he wasn't in the right state of mind, and his draconic aura was slightly chaotic. Huang Lingyao looked away from Su Fong and asked with concern, "Senior apprentice brother, are you feeling unwell?" Long Xiaojun closed his eyes and shook his head. "I don't know why, but I've been on tenterhooks these past few days. Could it be that something went wrong with the dragon race's cultivation technique? No, maybe something big is about to happen. My cultivation technique has sensed something." Long Xiaojun's anxious expression made Huang Lingyao slightly nervous. The crowd quieted down. The elders and elders of the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate appeared one by one, including Xianing Tian. "This person is so strong." It was an old man wearing a green robe without Dao patterns. He looked very ordinary, but Su Fong's perfected ability could sense that this person's aura was deep and empty. It was like a vast ocean, filled with the aura of the great Dao. It was unfathomable, as if he didn't belong to the celestial realm. Su Fong had seen many peerless experts, but this person was the strongest. He was even stronger than the elders. Law suddenly spoke from the depths of his body. "This person's cultivation realm is infinitely close to the immortal Emperor Realm Lord. He can barely be considered an expert." Su Fong smiled bitterly. How powerful was it to be close to the immortal Emperor Realm Lord? In Law's eyes, he could only be considered an expert, and barely. How powerful was Law at his peak? The old man's calm gaze swept across the crowd. There were tens of thousands of cultivators present, including some of the elders and peerless experts. They all felt a heavy pressure. Su Fong also felt as if all his secrets were seen through. He quickly used the Heaven's Secret Life shrinking technique to hide the devil chi and demon chi that he shouldn't have. "Leader," the disciples of the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate shouted in unison. It turned out that this person was the leader of the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate. For him to attend the marriage ceremony, it showed how much importance the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate placed on him. The green-robed old man first nodded at the Star Palace's great elder. His gaze landed on Su Fong, and he actually smiled. Su Fong hurriedly bowed. Then, the old man's gentle voice rang in his head. "Young man, you have brought a lot of trouble to the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate. However, I still have to thank you on behalf of the sect. Remember to treat Xuanxin well. Otherwise, Xianing Tian will not let you off." Su Fong was respectful and didn't dare to make a sound. The green-robed old man shifted his attention and nodded at one of the elders. "Let's begin." Suddenly, hold on. A man in a snow-white robe spoke in a domineering voice. It was Prince Ziwei from the Tranquility Emperor's residence. "Once the marriage ceremony is held, it means that the two sects have formed an alliance. Leader, have you really considered the consequences?" Prince Ziwei was still domineering in front of the leader of a force. The Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gates, Great Elder, and below were all angry at Prince Ziwei's rudeness. However, the leader of the sect was present, and no one else had the right to speak. The green-robed old man said, "Tranquility Emperor's residence, what advice do you have?" "I don't dare to advise you. I just have a few words of advice. I hope you can listen to me. There's no harm in speaking." Prince Ziwei said slowly, "There are many forces in the celestial realm, but they have been peaceful for many years and have maintained a balance. Once the constellation of 9 heavens and the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate form an alliance, they will become a huge force and will definitely affect the balance of the celestial realm. Tranquility Emperor's residence will not allow it." "Buzz, there's a sound like a tide on Qingyan Waterfall." The meaning of Prince Ziwei's words was very simple. "If you become stronger, you will threaten me. So, you can't become stronger. Be obedient and be a weakling. Otherwise, I will beat you." What was domineering and domineering? Tranquility Emperor's residence was one. The hundreds of thousands of disciples of the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate were all furious. The eyes of the people from the constellation of 9 heavens were also burning with anger. The cultivators from 8 great worlds of the celestial realm, the celestial realms, the cultivation forces, and the families all felt that Prince Ziwei was domineering. However, no one refuted him. "Do you see that?" Law suddenly asked in the depths of his body. "I see. This is the celestial realm. The strong preys on the weak." The words of the strong are the truth. The weak can only be bullied and killed. They don't even have the right to become stronger, Su Fong said slowly in his mind. That's right. This principle has never changed. Whether it's the small worlds, the great worlds, or the other realms, it's the same principle among the cultivators and the major forces. The reason why Prince Ziwei dared to be so arrogant and domineering in front of the leader was that he had the Tranquility Emperor's residence behind him. Even the lords of the celestial realms, the emperors, and the overlords had to be respectful when they saw the supreme Tranquility Emperor. Su Fong stared deeply at Prince Ziwei. There was a fire burning in his heart. It was a belief that he would not be the weak and would continue to become stronger. Prince Ziwei smiled proudly and looked at Long Xiaojun. I think the celestial realm and the major forces don't want to see the balance of the celestial realm being broken, right? That's right, Long Xiaojun said decisively. This time, he agreed with the Tranquility Emperor's residence for the first time. The celestial realm also had a supreme celestial emperor. Long Xiaojun's words made the people from the clear sky's myriad scroll door and the constellation of 9 heavens feel heavy pressure. It was as if they were shackled by an invisible force. Prince Yiwei is right. The Huiyin Shinrikyo will not agree to the alliance of the two sects, a grand elder of the Huiyin Shinrikyo suddenly said. The other 8 forces also spoke. Prince Yiwei was very proud. The elder in the green robe said majestically, "Then what do you all think?" Prince Yiwei said loudly, "It's very simple. Cancel the wedding ceremony. The constellation of 9 heavens will hand over the ethereal enlightenment and let the Tranquility Emperor's residence take care of it. If the Tranquility Emperor's residence can have the ethereal enlightenment, why can't the celestial realm have it?" Long Xiaojun said. The 2 forces of the celestial emperors were openly taking it. The elder in the green robe smiled. It seems the clear sky's myriad scroll door has no other choice. What do you all have to say? Suddenly, the constellation of 9 heavens will not be threatened by anyone. A domineering voice came from the void. Then, a figure appeared beside the elder in the green robe. Starlight flashed and condensed. It was a middle-aged man in a silver robe. He had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. When this person appeared, the surging nebula of the green cloud waterfall suddenly stopped. The various formations and divine abilities that maintained the nebula also stopped working. It was as if he was the supreme ruler of this space. He controlled everything in nature. One look, or one sentence, was the natural law of heaven and earth. It caused the void to collapse and everything to die. Su Fong's mind exploded. Celestial Emperor. This person is a supreme celestial emperor. Leader. The grand elder of the constellation of 9 heavens was the first to bow. The others also woke up from their dreams and bowed one after another. Su Fong was very surprised. He is the leader of the Celestial Palace. The Celestial Palace actually has a celestial emperor. Why have I never heard of this before? Luo's voice came from the blood jade in his body. He should have just become a celestial emperor. I understand now. What? You will know when you use the power of great perfection to sense it. Su Fong activated the power of great perfection. He felt the aura of the ethereal enlightenment from the middle-aged man in the silver robe. He instantly understood. At the world immortal realm, every breakthrough was extremely difficult. It was very common to be stuck in a small realm for the rest of one's life. Those below the world immortal realm were the elders of a sect. Those above the world immortal realm and below the world immortal realm were the grand elders. Those above the world immortal realm were qualified to establish a force and become an emperor or overlord. Hence, they were also known as celestial emperors. In this celestial region, there were very few world immortals in the world immortal realm. Those above the world immortal realm were even rarer. The cultivation technique of the constellation of 9 heavens was very unique. There were very few cultivation techniques in the world that could be combined with the Celestial Palace. The ethereal 10,000 arts Tao that Su Fong gave to the sect happened to be tailor-made for the Celestial Palace. The leader of the Celestial Palace was stuck at the peak of the world immortal realm. He had been unable to break through for many years. It was also with the help of the ethereal 10,000 Arts Tao that he found the opportunity to break through. In a short 10 years, he broke through and became a supreme celestial emperor. You have crossed that threshold. The green-robed elder looked at the middle-aged man in the silver robe who was formed by the starlight. His eyes shone and his voice was trembling. I was lucky. It is all thanks to my celestial palace disciple, Su Fong. The middle-aged man in the silver robe looked at Su Fong. His eyes were filled with appreciation and gratitude. Chapter 1197. It's because of the ethereal enlightenment that I broke through the peak of the 9 realms of world immortals and became a supreme immortal emperor. The leader of the clear sky, Thousand Scrolls Gate, the old man in a green robe, had hope in his eyes. A supreme immortal emperor was an absolute powerhouse in this immortal realm. Every immortal dreamed of becoming a supreme immortal. Emperor Ning's mansion and Tiandao, immortal realm, could become a supreme force above the clear sky, Thousand Scrolls Gate, because they had a supreme immortal emperor. The old man in a green robe looked at Su Fong in a different way. Su Fong also became more important in his heart. Prince Ziwei Long Xiaojun, right? The middle-aged man in a silver robe's eyes didn't seem to be threatening at all, but they were full of dominating will. Even the arrogant Prince Ziwei trembled in fear and broke out in cold sweat. Long Xiaojun was the same. The 9 Heavens Star Palace and the Clear Sky Myriad Scroll Gate have formed an alliance. Do they need the approval of the Tranquility Emperor's residence and the Heavenly Tao immortal world? Clap, clap, clap. It turned out that Crown Prince Yiwei was unable to withstand the frightening divine power shackles. Cold sweat rolled down his forehead. Long Xiaojun was obviously weaker than Crown Prince Yiwei. His whole body trembled, and he could barely stand. Boom! The middle-aged man in a silver robe didn't make any hand seals, but an invisible force that could control heaven and earth suddenly fell on the powerhouses of Emperor Ning's mansion and Tiandao, immortal realm. Prince Yiwei, Long Xiaojun, Lin Yihan, Yin Imo, and Huang Lingyao all knelt on the ground. The weaker ones even spat out blood. A supreme immortal emperor was so terrifying. Powerhouses can't fight back in front of a supreme immortal emperor. They're as weak as chickens. This is a supreme immortal emperor. Su Fong was shocked. One day, he would also become a supreme immortal emperor. Emperor Ning's mansion and Tiandao immortal realm attacked the Star Palace's base in Huang, Zhe Star Field. This time, you ruined the ceremony. I'm just giving you a light punishment. The middle-aged man in a silver robe withdrew his force. Prince Yiwei and the others returned to normal. They were all frightened and didn't dare to disobey. Tell Tranquility Emperor and Tianong Immortal Emperor that Star Palace and Thousand Scroll Gate have formed an alliance and have no intention of fighting for power with Tranquility Emperor's mansion and Tiandao Immortal Realm. However, the true ethereal record is something shared by the 2 great sections. Anyone who has ideas about the true ethereal record is a violation of the 2 great sections. This palace master will not agree to it, and the Clear Sky 10,000 Scrolls Gate will also not agree to it. As his gaze swept across the crowd, the experts from the 8 different powers all lowered their heads, not daring to meet his gaze. At the same time, they completely dispelled some of their unrealistic thoughts. Few, the leaders of the 2 sects, left Qingyun Waterfall. Then the wedding ceremony that had been interrupted continued. Beautiful heavenly music sounded. Buzz, Su Fong clearly sees hundreds of female cultivators of the gate of green sky, 1,000 scrolls slowly flying over the nebula waterfall. The woman in white who is surrounded by the female cultivators is the heroine of today's grand ceremony. The first fairy of the gate of green sky, 1,000 scrolls, Xuanxin. Swish, swish. Countless gazes descended onto Fairy Xuanxin. At this moment, Fairy Xuanxin did not wear a mask, revealing her peerlessly beautiful and flawless face. She had a tranquil bearing and was otherworldly. It was as if this woman was not from the immortal world, and no beautiful scenery in the universe could set off her beauty. But Su Fong saw the faint sorrow in Xuanxin's eyes, and it carried a feeling of unapproachable. Phew, Fairy Xuanxin flew over and stood side by side with Su Fang. Buzz, there was a burst of discussion among the crowd. Compared to Fairy Xuanxin, this kid is really a toad. He's a lowly cultivator from the lower realms, and his cultivation is only at the mystic immortal realm. What qualifications does he have to dual cultivate with Fairy Xuanxin? It's all because of his good luck that he exchanged the true ethereal record for status and the #1 beauty. Fairy Xuanxin was first toyed with by Yin Sunxin, and then betrayed herself for the true ethereal record. How can she be considered the #1 fairy? That was how people were. Grapes that couldn't be eaten were always sour, and the person who ate the grapes was also the one who was hated the most. When the voices floated into Fairy Xuanxin's ears, her body trembled slightly, and her face turned pale. Why bother with the nonsense of these senseless people? The path of cultivation has always been one that defies the heavens. If you pay attention to what others say about everything, how can you climb to the peak? Su Fang's voice came from his soul, and he reached out to grab Fairy Xuanxin's hand. It was soft and slightly cold, but very comfortable. Su Fang couldn't help but squeeze it a few more times. You dare take advantage of me? Fairy Xuanxin's soul voice was filled with shame and anger, and her ears were red. Since it's an act, then make it more realistic. How can you say I'm taking advantage of you? Besides, didn't you also take advantage of me that day at the gathering? Su Fangdao walked towards the platform in front of him, very calm. Fairy Xuanxin struggled slightly, but she didn't reject him anymore. All eyes were on them. Su Fang had undoubtedly become the luckiest toad in the world, and it made people jealous. A grand elder of the clear sky myriad scroll gate announced loudly, Su Fang of the constellation of 9 heavens and Xuanxin of the clear sky myriad scroll gate have become a couple. Wait, a majestic voice suddenly rang out. It turned out to be an old man with a goatee. His hair was messy, and he looked very sloppy, but his aura was empty. He was an expert at the level of a grand elder. Behind the old man with the goatee stood a jade-faced man in his 30s. It was Lang Liyun, the grand elder of the clear sky myriad scroll gate, who was in charge of the ceremony, raised his eyebrows and said coldly, "So it's immortal Lord Lai of the myriad waves, immortal sea." The myriad waves, immortal sea many people didn't know about this force, and the people of the Tranquility Emperor residence and the heavenly law, immortal realm, all showed fear in their eyes. Su Fang said to Ao Tian Changhen with his primordial spirit, "Senior Ao Tian, what's the origin of the myriad waves immortal sea? It's very powerful." Ao Tian Changhen replied, "It's more than powerful. The myriad waves immortal sea is also a great world, but it's not in this immortal realm. Its power is far beyond your imagination." It's said that the myriad waves immortal sea has a supreme expert who surpasses the immortal emperor. The Tranquility Emperor residence and the heavenly law immortal realm combined can't compare to the myriad waves immortal sea. How powerful do you think it is? So powerful? Su Fangdao was shocked. He had heard from Luo that Lang Liyun's origin was extraordinary, but he didn't expect the myriad waves immortal sea to be so powerful. An existence that surpasses the immortal emperor? How powerful was that? It was beyond Su Fang's knowledge. Luo said faintly from the depths of his body, "This immortal realm is just a corner of the great world. It's just a lowly existence. There's an even bigger world that you don't understand. For example, there's the ancient battlefield, the devil realm, and the demon realm. You're just a frog at the bottom of a well. Can you be a bit more polite? I'll be hurt if you do that. Luo, could it be that you were a supreme expert like the immortal emperor you in the past?" Luo didn't answer directly, but from his disdainful voice, it could be seen that he didn't even put a supreme existence like the immortal emperor you in his eyes. Luo's origin was really mysterious. It seemed that helping him gather all the blood jades for his primordial spirit to fuse with and find his physical body was still a long way off. Su Fang's current ability was far from enough. Luo continued, "This Lang Liyun's origin is extraordinary. This time, you're in trouble again. It's better to think of a way to deal with this sticky candy." You still have the time to think about random things. So what if he's from the 10,000 waves immortal sea? During my dual cultivation celebration, he openly snatched my woman. What kind of humiliation is this? Who cares about his origin? Su Fang's voice was filled with decisiveness and ruthlessness. The great elder who was hosting the celebration said in a deep voice, "Immortal lie, why are you stopping the celebration? Although Lang Liyun is disappointing, he's still my disciple. Yet, he was humiliated by this brat for no reason. Why do you think I'm stopping the celebration? I won't make things difficult for the Star Palace and the 10,000 Scrolls door. Let Lang Liyun and this brat have a fair fight. If Lang Liyun loses, we'll leave. If this brat loses, this beautiful woman will be Lang Liyun's companion." The elder with the goatee pointed at Su Fang. A dignified great elder was actually acting like a shameless rascal. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless gazes filled with schadenfreude and mockery focused on Su Fang. Suddenly, another figure stood out from Long Xiaojuan's side. It was Huang Lingyao. I have a death feud with this person in the lower world. I'll take today's opportunity to settle it once and for all. A cold, arrogant voice with a murderous intent. It attracted everyone's attention. Countless men's eyes lit up. Many people swallowed their saliva. Even Lang Liyun, who seemed to have lost his soul, became spirited. At this moment, Su Fang walked slowly to the front of the stage. Let's see if he's not disgraced this time. That was what most people thought. I, Su Fang, come from the lower world. I joined the constellation of 9 heavens. At first, I was only a disciple with a different surname from Huangfu Training Hall. I was a slave who was ordered around. Now that I'm Goddess Xuanxin's companion, it's normal for people to be jealous and hate me. Since the news of the marriage was announced, I've been bullied, mocked, and even tried to kill me. Does being born lowly mean being bullied by others? May I ask, Prince Ziwei and Long Xiaojun are the 2 supreme immortal emperors, the Tranquility Emperor and the Tian-Ong Immortal Emperor, born to dominate a large world? I once told Senior Xian Yin Tian a saying in the lower world, 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west. Who dares to say that I, Su Fang, will always be lowly? Today, Su Fang's hale and hearty eyes swept across the masters and faces with different expressions. Suddenly, he raised his voice. 30 years is just a snap of the fingers for cultivators, but I think 30 years is too long. Why don't I look at the present? Who else wants to humiliate me in today's ceremony? I, Su Fang, will accept all of them today. The clanging sounds were loud and clear, and their domineering aura soared into the sky. There were more than tens of thousands of people who coveted Xuanxin's beauty and wanted to challenge Su Fang. But he wanted to challenge all the elites on his own. How heroic and how domineering was that? For a moment, the grand scene of hundreds of thousands of people in the huge Qingyan waterfall was collectively speechless. I'll say a few high-sounding words. Who doesn't want me to challenge you? It's not for Xuanxin, but to settle old grudges. This is a personal grudge between Su Fang and me. I hope the senior experts of the Star Palace and the 1,000-Scroll Gate won't stop me. Huang Lingyao spurted out her aura and charged towards Su Fang. How could he not understand this woman's thoughts? The so-called grudge in the lower world was just a pretense. Her real purpose was still to get the ethereal enlightenment. All kinds of demons and ghosts have come out from my dual cultivation celebration. Do you think I, Xuanxin, am easy to bully? Xuanxin shouted coldly, and the aura of various great Daos was suddenly released. It was even stronger than Huang Lingyao's. Well, Su Fang was very surprised. The number 1 fairy of the clear sky 1,000-Scroll Gate and the number 1 disciple of the White Sun sect were about to fight. Suddenly, the sky suddenly darkened, as if all the light had been swallowed by some monster. Huang Lingyao and Xuanxin stopped at the same time and looked at the sky in surprise. Long Xiaojun screamed in extreme pain, and his mind became absent-minded. Who knew that a second later, a dazzling golden light tore through the darkness. Along with the golden light, a strange dark red halo enveloped the world. For suns, there are actually 4 suns, waves of terrified screams sounded from the Qingyan waterfall. Chapter 1198. As expected, in the sky, a fourth sun suddenly appeared next to the original three suns. It was as if the sky had been torn apart and solidified with black blood. The three dark red suns formed a triangle, surrounding the divine sun that was born in heaven and earth. The sunlight had a strange, bloody halo. What was even more shocking was that the light from the fourth sun contained a strange power that was filled with a ruthless aura. Another sun has risen. Su Fang's head was filled with a rumbling sound. Everyone on the green cloud waterfall felt as if their heads were rumbling. Buzz, the primordial chaos sacred mirror in his body, suddenly became scalding hot. Although the many great monsters and junior commanders in the Crucible Transformation realm and Yellow Spring Great Emperor Bottle were separated by two great Dao tools, they were still slightly affected by the fourth sun and became faintly agitated. Su Fang also felt that the demon Qi and demon Qi hidden deep in his body were restless. He looked at the green cloud waterfall again. My cultivation base has been suppressed a bit. Someone suddenly cried out in alarm. Everyone activated their true Qi. As expected, the natural spirit Qi of heaven and earth was suppressed, causing the cultivators' cultivation realms to be suppressed. Not only was it difficult to circulate their true Qi, but it was also difficult to use heaven and earth essence. Suddenly, Long Xiaojun let out a roar that didn't sound like a human's. A shocking dragon aura exploded from his body. Dragon shadows appeared on his body, but his aura was abnormally wild and shocking. Long Xiaojun's eyes were blood red. He seemed to have lost his mind and entered a state of madness. He crazily attacked his surroundings. Boom! A white-haired old man stepped forward to stop him, but Long Xiaojun's violent dragon Qi slapped his head. His head was smashed like a watermelon. Long Xiaojun couldn't recognize people anymore. The experts around him were so scared that they all retreated. Senior brother, Huang Lingyao didn't care about challenging Su Fang anymore. He turned around and went toward Long Xiaojun. Lightning sword Qi swam around him. He had activated Yunxiao's lightning sword. Qi, a thunderous sound reverberated. It set off a shocking aura. Even the evil Qi that enveloped heaven and earth was torn apart. The power of the 10 Dao artifacts was terrifying. The lightning sword Qi tore apart Long Xiaojun's Qi field and shattered it. Huang Lingyao took the opportunity to seal Long Xiaojun and put him into his inner world. Su Fang asked Luo Chu, "How did Master Long become like this?" Luo responded, "Long Xiaojun cultivates some Dragon Clan cultivation methods and absorbs a little dragon Qi of the Dragon Clan, and the fourth sun that rises contains hostility, which can affect the consciousness of a monster clan and cause them to lose their mind. Long Xiaojun became like this because of this." He recalled that when the third sun rose, the demon race in the small world went crazy and attacked each other. The human race was plundered and cities were destroyed. Su Fang's body emitted a cold aura. "Luo, do you know what happened to this world?" "I don't know. I came to this immortal domain when the blood jade shattered during the first upheaval," Luo Chan said. After a moment of silence, Law slowly said, "But one thing is certain. With the rise of the fourth sun, the big world will encounter an unprecedented catastrophe. The disaster you experienced in the small world is not worth mentioning at all." Su Fang sucked in a breath of cold air, and his heart sank to the bottom. He was about to continue asking. Roared an angry roar came from somewhere else in the clear sky's Thousand Scrolls door, as if it came from ancient times. It was abnormally violent, and it directly penetrated the Qingyun Waterfall's formation defense, shaking the entire Qingyun Waterfall and causing the nebula to churn. Everyone was trembling in fear, and some of the weaker ones could not stand up straight. "It's the Lord Monster Emperor. The Guardian Monster Emperor, Purple Lightning Cloud-Spitting Beast, has also gone crazy." It turned out that there was a Monster Emperor in the clear sky's Thousand Scrolls door, whose strength was comparable to an immortal emperor. He was also affected by the fourth sun and went crazy. Pung pung pung. The formation outside the Qingyan waterfall was continuously attacked. It turned out that the Clear Skies Thousand Scrolls door had also subdued many big goblin. Now that they were affected by the upheaval, their consciousness was out of control, and they began to attack everything they saw. A figure came to the Qingyan waterfall. It was the leader of the Clear Skies Thousand Scrolls door, the green-robed elder. His clothes were a bit messy, and it was obvious that he had just had a fierce battle with the monster emperor. What are you waiting for? Subdue the crazy big goblin. With the green-robed elder's command, the disciples came to their senses. They leaped into the air and attacked the crazy monster immortal. The cultivators from 8 forces who came to watch the wedding ceremony did not have the intention to stay any longer. Who knew what would happen when the 4th sun rose? The forces and sects that they belonged to were experiencing the same thing as the Clear Skies Thousand Scrolls door. The Lord of 5 Poisons transmitted his primordial spirit voice. Su Feng, let's meet again in the future. Li Haojia also deliberately reminded him. This upheaval is not a small matter. Su Feng, you have to be careful. Su Feng replied to the two of them. You have to take care too. Quickly increase your strength to deal with the upcoming catastrophe. The disciples of the constellation of 9 heavens have returned. Many of the demons suppressed in the secret land of the Star Palace have broken through the seal. A majestic voice suddenly rang in the minds of every disciple of the Star Palace. It was the silver-robed, middle-aged man, the master of the Star Palace. Su Feng also had to leave with Ao Yin, Zhang Hen, and the others. The master of the Star Palace suddenly transmitted his primordial spirit voice. Su Feng, the journey back to the sect is extremely dangerous. Stay in the Clear Skies Thousand Scrolls door for the time being. Even the Supreme Immortal King expert said that it was extremely dangerous. One could imagine how serious the situation was. Su Feng was shocked. Xianyin Tian came forward and shouted, Su Feng, follow Xuanxin back to her training ground. Before the situation stabilizes, don't come out. I'm afraid it's not appropriate for me to stay in Fairy Xuanxin's training ground. Su Feng quickly declined. What a joke. What if Fairy Xuanxin found out something was wrong? How would he deal with it? Fairy Xuanxin's ears turned red. Grandfather, I'll choose another training ground for him. I'm not used to outsiders staying in my training ground. What are you talking about? The dual cultivation ceremony has already been held. He's your partner. How is he an outsider? If he doesn't stay at your place, where else can he stay? Xianyin Tian raised his white eyebrows. Su Feng could only smile bitterly. What else could he do? He was going to make the act real. Swoosh! Su Feng followed Fairy Xuanxin to the special training ground in the Clear Skies Thousand Scrolls door. They came to a valley with a waterfall. There was a palace in the celestial fog. This is one of my palaces. Stay here for the time being. Don't look for me if there's nothing, Fairy Xuanxin said coldly and threw a token to Su Feng. She was very cold. As expected, Su Feng touched his nose. Nominal partner didn't have any status. Fairy Xuanxin was about to leave. She thought of something and said faintly, If Luo Sha contacts you again, you have to inform me immediately. Su Feng didn't feel good. Seeing Su Feng's expression, Xuanxin frowned. I just want to use Luo Sha to help me break through my cultivation bottleneck. Don't think too much. After Fairy Xuanxin left, Luo sneered in his mind. You didn't expect that your nominal partner would be thinking about your other identity. That doesn't feel good, does it? Su Feng was very angry. Luo, you're getting more and more improper. Now that the celestial realm is facing a catastrophe, how can I have other thoughts? First, tell me about this catastrophe. It's nothing more than the demon immortals going crazy and the demons escaping the seal. It can't be as serious as you say, right? Luo Yu said, It's serious. The future situation will be 10 times, 100 times more serious than what I said. Su Feng was very shocked. He had always trusted Luo. Since Luo said so, it must be more serious than he thought. Have you forgotten? Outside the Thousand Streams door, you met a demon. That demon must have come from the demon realm. It can be seen that the demons have long been preparing to enter the celestial realm. Could the catastrophe be from the demons? When the fourth sun rises, the world will be filled with a violent aura. Naturally, spiritual energy will be suppressed. Demons will not be restricted. Instead, their strength will soar. I think that it won't be long before the demons leave the dark outer realms. The demons will also leave the demon realm and launch a large-scale attack on the humans of the celestial realm. Another great war between immortals and demons will begin. Su Fang's heart sank. That's not the worst. There's more. Su Fang's scalp went numb. Have you forgotten how I escaped the seal? Under the influence of the fourth sun, the power of the sealed big goblin and demons will be weakened or even broken. The powerful big goblin demons that were sealed by humans in the past will come out and run rampant in the celestial realm. What's more serious is the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons. How does it involve the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons? Humans had fought countless battles with the demons and demons. Even Luo could not describe the most recent one. There were many immortal and demon battlefields outside the celestial realm. Countless demons were sealed in the battlefields. Countless peerless big goblin and demons are sealed in the ruins of the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons. Once they rise with the help of the fourth sun, the seal will loosen and they will escape from the ruins and come to the celestial realm. Think about the consequences. Su Fang sucked in a breath of cold air. He was so shocked that his entire body was emitting cold air. Silence. Suppression. After a long time, Su Fang smiled majestically. He looked at the four suns in the sky with a domineering aura. To other cultivators, it's a catastrophe. But to me, it's also a huge opportunity. With one more sun, the spiritual energy will naturally be suppressed. It won't affect me at all. When I cultivate, it'll be easier for me to use the primordial chaos sacred realm. My speed of improvement will definitely be faster. Also, I can use the ancient mirror to subdue big goblin and even demons for my use and strengthen my strength. With the emergence of demons and the arrival of the catastrophe, the celestial realm will definitely be in chaos. It'll be more beneficial for me to establish a force and have a greater chance of taking back the third part of the purple Qi Dharma spirit from immortal Emperor Tianan. I have the purple Qi Dharma spirit. My providence is many times stronger than others. This catastrophe is also an opportunity for me to rise in the great world. When my various true bodies are cultivated, I'll be able to fully use the reincarnation sword, the Xianming lightning scroll, and the primordial chaos sacred mirror. Coupled with my second primordial spirit, I'll also be able to step on peerless immortal emperors. When that time comes, the peerless big goblin and demons from the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons will come to this celestial realm. Even if I don't have the strength to fight them, I'll be able to protect myself. Su Fang pointed out his advantages in one breath, carrying a lofty ambition. But Luo did not reply for a long time. Luo, am I wrong? Luo praised. Su Fang, you're becoming more and more mature. What you said is correct. The so-called crisis has both dangers and opportunities. Fools and incompetent people only see danger and will eventually be swallowed up by it. However, true experts are able to find opportunities amidst danger and use them to rise up, obtaining unparalleled accomplishments. You have to make good use of this great opportunity. When you have the strength to sweep through the immortal realms, you might really be able to help me gather all the blood jades one day, or even find my body. Luo, Su Fang, will definitely not let you down. Chapter 1199. Su Fang calmed down and pondered deeply. He could abandon the various divine abilities of the constellation of 9 heavens. He could cultivate the Yellow Springs Blood Sea, Yellow Springs Reincarnation Technique, 9 Suns 9 Transformations, Heaven's Secret Life Shrinking Technique, Ethereal Truth, Blood Hell Wolf Smoke, and Heavenly Demon Book. There's also the Reincarnation Sword and the Xianming Lightning Archive. He began to enter the Yin-Yang Dao Wheel. Master, the Sword Spirit took the initiative to communicate with Su Fang. Reincarnation, the world is changing. The human race will face a calamity. The war between immortals and demons is about to begin. I can only use a bit of its power now. It's far from enough. The sword spirit also replied, Master needs to continuously cultivate the Yellow Springs reincarnation sword. Only then can you use my power. I will do my best to cooperate with Master. The war between immortals and demons is about to begin again. A cold voice suddenly came from the Xianming Lightning Archive. It hasn't started yet. However, in the near future, there will definitely be a great war. It's been a long time since the last war. It's about time for a new one. The blood-red lightning on the Xianming Lightning Archive flashed a few times, as if recalling something. During the last great war of immortals and demons, my first master used me to unleash an unparalleled power. I don't know how many peerless demons were destroyed. I wonder if I can shine as brightly as a star in this great war of immortals and demons. Artifact Spirit, I will quickly increase my strength and master a peerless lightning-type divine ability. I will let you shine in the upcoming war. Su Fong was very confident. Su Fong, you're a peerless Godhead user. I also hope that you will be able to use me as soon as possible, just like my first master, the master of the Azure Cloud Immortal Sect. You might even surpass him and become the strongest person in the immortal world. You can bring me to sweep the immortal demon battlefield. The Xianming Lightning Archive's tone was filled with anticipation. The Reincarnation Sword was also looking forward to it. Reincarnation also hopes that it will become a peerless divine artifact one day. It will be able to follow Master to the myriad realms where the gods are rumored to be. His consciousness left the Heaven and Earth Tao Palace. He saw the experts under him, the big goblin and the small commanders. These were all powerful forces that would help him in the future. He gathered the big goblin experts and told them about the rise of the fourth sun and the impending calamity of the celestial world. Green Feather Monarch and the other big goblin were startled. Back then, when the third sun appeared in the sky of the lower realm, the scene of the demons going crazy was still fresh in their minds. Hearing that Su Fong was going to show off his skills, the big goblin experts were all very excited. However, although their current strength was not bad, it was far from enough to face the upcoming catastrophe. They had to increase their strength as soon as possible. He also made arrangements to frantically refine the Yin-Yang Immortal Sky Pill. Now that he had 4 top-grade pill cauldrons, he did not have to worry about the matter of the pill cauldrons. However, he did not have enough manpower. With the chaos in the immortal world, the materials for refining pills would definitely become scarce in the future. He had to make preparations in advance. He also entered the Yellow Spring Great Emperor bottle so that the junior commanders could master the Grand Fusion Divine Technique as soon as possible. This was the joint attack technique of the Ghost Dao's 5 freaks. It could turn the power of many people into a formation. True Qi and Primordial Spirit could be used together. Although the junior commanders were not very strong, using the Grand Fusion Divine Technique could combine their strength together. The power was boundless. One could imagine how useful it would be in the future. After everything was arranged, Law suddenly reminded, don't forget that you still have the second Primordial Spirit. This will be your trump card to sweep through the immortal domain in the future. You can let the second Primordial Spirit borrow the evil energy between heaven and earth to cultivate and transform it into 9 Yin Qi. This way, not only will you be able to continuously improve the second Primordial Spirit, speed up the cultivation of the 9 Yang 9 transformations, produce more Yin-Yang world power, and enhance your ability to control heaven and earth. With Law's reminder, Su Fong's mind suddenly became clear. His mind was spinning rapidly. Letting the second Primordial Spirit cultivate 9 Yin Qi not only had the many benefits Law mentioned, but also an even greater benefit. He did not have to rely on the mysterious woman in the Origin Sacred Mirror. Although he could absorb 9 Yin Qi from the Origin Sacred Mirror every time, it was more reliable than cultivating on his own. It was related to the lifeline of his cultivation. It was better to control it in his own hands. Su Fong had experienced countless storms all the way from the small world. His personality had become more cautious. Apart from relatives like Bai Ling and Green Feather Monarch, Su Fong also maintained a bit of vigilance. The woman in the Origin's sacred mirror was too mysterious and powerful. Su Fong could not help but maintain a trace of vigilance. There were too many things to do. After everything was arranged, he took out a rune talisman. Soon a figure came to the training hall. It was Elder Kong Yuanqing of the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate. Young Master Su Fong, what are your orders? Su Fong's current status in the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate was very special. He was very extraordinary and had even been a special disciple. Kong Yuanqing's attitude also took a big turn. He became very polite in front of Su Fong. It was as if he was treating an elder of the same status, or even higher than an elder of the same status. Su Fong cupped his fists. Elder Kong is too polite. You could just call me Su Fong. I wonder if the sect has stabilized? It has for now, but no one could say for sure what will happen next. The sect has already sent disciples out to scout the situation. I'm afraid this immortal region will be in chaos. Kong Yuanqing looked worried. Su Fong went straight to the point. I need some materials urgently. I wonder if I can get them directly from the sect. The leader has specially instructed that the sect will try to satisfy young Master Su Fong's needs in the Myriad Scroll Gate. I wonder what materials you need and how much you need. Su Fong took out the jade slip he had prepared. Kong Yuanqing activated the jade slip and revealed a troubled expression. Although these are all ordinary materials, there are so many of them. They're all provided by the sect. Su Fong smiled and said, I'm not taking advantage of the sect. I'm using pills to exchange for them. So that's how it is. It's very simple. Just leave it to this old man. Kong Yuanqing breathed a sigh of relief and agreed. Su Fong took out a batch of pills as a deposit for the purchase of materials. The large number of pills surprised Kong Yuanqing. His remaining doubts were immediately dispelled. Kong Yuanqing immediately went to handle it and returned in less than 2 hours. He gave Su Fong a storage ring filled with the materials needed to refine the best quality Yin Yang Immortal Sky Pill to Su Fong. This was the benefit of status. Previously, in the constellation of 9 heavens, he did not receive such treatment. Whoosh! Su Fong activated the token to separate the clouds and walked into the palace. He casually found a room and formed an enchantment before entering the crucible transformation world and entering a state of cultivation. His corporeal body instantly shattered and transformed into the yellow spring blood sea state. At this time, the blood sea was nearly 1,000 feet long. It was rolling and surging like flames and waves, looking very terrifying. While cultivating the blood sea state, he could also attack the Yang Meridian, cultivate the 9 Yang 9 transformations, and the yellow spring reincarnation art, constantly improving his ability to control the reincarnation sword. Su Fong had already mastered the yellow spring blood sea to such a degree that he could control it at will. He could let the blood sea reach the level where he could form hand seals, release magical powers, and magic weapons. He could also instantly activate the Great Perfection Perception, Blood Transformation True Body, and Black Lotus True Body. However, he was still far from being able to control the blood sea to devour a force like the Yellow Spring Heavenly Emperor. The Yellow Spring blood sea's devouring ability had also become amazing. Su Fong first kept devouring high-grade pills. Then he took out the spiritual objects from the Yellow Spring Heavenly Emperor's Tao field and refined them into spiritual liquid with the Crucible Transformation Void dust before throwing them into the blood sea. Sizzle, the blood sea boiled and merged with the power of the pills. After stabilizing the 7 Tao realm, Su Fong swallowed a best quality pill given by Xian Yin Tian and began to attack the peak of the 7 Tao realm. About 3 years later, Su Fong, who was cultivating in the Yellow Spring blood sea, suddenly ignited a tribulation chi in the blood sea. He immediately transformed into his physical state and flew out of the crucible transformation realm. The tribulation fire burned with a whoosh. Then, a large amount of impurities overflowed and were burned into nothingness by the tribulation fire. The pure yang true fire and the illusory fire cloud burned continuously. His upper body turned into a fire cloud state. The purple cloud Dharma spirit also released a purple cloud that spiraled charmingly. A few days later, there were 8 auras outside Su Fang's body. Profound immortal 8 Tao realm. After breaking through a realm, the yellow spring blood sea's ability naturally increased. His overall strength also increased. And with the rise of the 4th sun, the birth of the 24th yang meridian should not be too long. However, Su Fang still felt that the improvement was too slow. If I have the ice soul blood fetus, the yellow spring blood sea's cultivation speed will definitely be much faster. Su Fang licked his lips and looked like he was drooling. Law suddenly said, "Now that the demons are running rampant, there are plenty of opportunities to obtain the ice soul blood fetus. However, you have to find a way to leave the 10,000 scrolls door. If you want to become a supreme expert, just cultivating in seclusion is definitely far from enough. It's time to find a chance to go out and train." Su Fang continued to stabilize his profound, immortal 8 Tao realm cultivation. Half a year later, young Master Su Fang come over. "I'll wait outside the training hall. The sect's upper echelons have gathered all the special disciples." It turned out that Elder Kong Yuanqing had sent a voice transmission. After a series of shuttles, they arrived at the depths of a special training hall in the clear skies 10,000 scrolls door. They entered a palace on top of a mountain. There were many elders, and upper echelons. Xian Yintian was among them. There were also hundreds of special disciples. Each of them had an aura of nothingness and supreme arrogance. He also saw Fairy Xuanqin. Ever since she moved into the palace, she had not shown her face. This made Su Fang very depressed. This woman actually did not take the nominal Dao companion seriously. In the palace, Su Fang did not know many people. However, everyone knew Su Fang. Fairy Xuanqin was the dual cultivation Dao companion of the 10,000 Scrolls Door's #1 fairy. At the same time, he had the identity of a special disciple of 2 major sections. This had never happened in the history of the 2 major sections. Other than the special disciples who went out, almost all the elites and geniuses of the Clear Skies 10,000 Scrolls Door are here. Gather everyone. We have something important to announce. A grand elder's majestic voice came from above. The palace was completely silent as everyone's gazes fell on the great elder. It has been a few years since the world changed. This immortal domain is already in chaos. News continues to spread. Many sects and families in the immortal AO Great World, Yuanlu Great World, and immortal AO Great World have been destroyed by the crazy big goblin. Countless experts have died. Many demons have also appeared and swept through the human cities. The evil cultivators have also taken the opportunity to cause chaos. There's a lot of discussion in the main hall. All the special disciples' expressions changed. The situation is worse than expected. Su Fang was also very surprised. Silence. We have gathered everyone this time to announce an important decision. The chaos in the immortal domain has also affected the cultivation cities and vassal forces controlled by the Clear Skies 10,000 Scrolls Door. The situation is critical. The sect has provided you with resources. Now is the time for you to contribute to the sect. From today onwards, the sect will assign all kinds of missions. They are divided into 3 levels of difficulty: high, low, and low. All special disciples must complete a low-level mission within 100 years. They must complete at least 1 mid-level mission within 1,000 years. If they can complete a high-level mission, they will not have to accept any more sect missions for 10,000 years. Chapter 1200. The Clear Skies Myriad Scrolls Door was a powerful force in the immortal AO Great World. It required a large amount of resources to maintain the operation of the sect. It was the cities and families in the immortal world within the sect's sphere of influence that provided the sect with endless resources. In the immortal AO Great World, the Clear Skies Myriad Scrolls Door occupied a lot of territory in the immortal world. It controlled the countries, cultivation forces, and some vassal forces in the immortal world. When the 4th sun rose, the great world was in chaos. The clear skies, myriad scrolls door's influence was not very big, but the forces below had suffered heavy losses. If they did not provide help, it would undoubtedly shake the foundation of the clear skies, myriad scrolls door. The upper echelons of the sect would definitely not sit by and watch. Every special disciple must complete the mission. Su Fong raised his eyebrows and began to plan in his heart. After the Grand Elder on the main seat announced the decision of the upper echelons, he waved his hand and said, "Go and receive the mission." Su Fong was about to leave with the special disciples when the Grand Elder suddenly said, "Su Fong, you don't have to complete the mission." Su Fong cupped his fists and replied, "Su Fong is also a special disciple of the Clear Skies Myriad Scrolls door. Now that the sect is in danger, how can I stay out of it? This kid is not bad." The first elders and the rest of the elders nodded. Only one Grand Elder's eyes exuded coldness, but it was very obscure and hard for others to detect. After a series of transformations, they arrived at a Dao Hall and walked into the main hall where they received the mission. There were many types of quests. The more dangerous ones included venturing into outer space to explore danger zones, killing great yaos that were attacking cities, and so on. As for the low-level quests, they were much easier. However, that was only relative to the strength of the special disciples. A large number of female immortals have mysteriously disappeared. A mission that was listed as the highest level attracted Su Fong's attention. It turned out that in the past year, the big goblin's crazy attacks on human forces had gradually decreased, but many strange things had happened. First, some forces suddenly disappeared overnight, as if they were steamed. Then, there were cultivators who continued to disappear for no reason. Most of them were female immortals. There were also more than 10 female core disciples of the Clear Skies Myriad Scrolls door who went missing after leaving the sect. There was even a very outstanding female special disciple who disappeared while carrying out a mission last month. The matter was extremely bizarre and attracted great attention from the sect. As a result, it was listed as a high-level mission. In order not to attract attention, Su Fong finally chose an inconspicuous low-level mission. The mission was very simple. The Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate was a subordinate of an empire in the Divine Billow immortal world. Demonic cultivators were causing chaos in the empire, and the situation was difficult to control. The Emperor of the Divine Billow Nation had specially requested help from the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate. The Godly Billow immortal realm wasn't very big. In fact, it was only slightly bigger than a country in the lower realm. The strongest person was the Emperor of the Godly Billow immortal realm. The demonic Dao cultivators who were causing trouble in the Divine Wave Nation definitely wouldn't be that powerful. They probably wouldn't be an elder expert like Immortal Longu. Directly killing the demonic Dao cultivators would be considered to have completed the mission. Then, he would have 100 years to either leisurely cultivate and increase his cultivation or find a powerful big goblin to suppress. Su Fong's choice made some special disciples look down on him. They thought that Su Fong was clearly just randomly accepting a mission. However, no one mocked or criticized him in his face. During the gathering of peerless geniuses, Su Fong acted decisively and viciously. This news had already spread in the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate. No one dared to provoke him. Swish, swish, swish. A figure walked into the palace and immediately attracted everyone's attention. It turned out that Fairy Xuanqin had also come to accept a mission. Under everyone's gaze, Fairy Xuanqin finally chose a high-level mission to investigate the mysterious disappearance of a female immortal. Fairy Xuanqin's choice made everyone admire her, but it also made Su Fong look even dimmer. This made Su Fong very depressed. Back at Fairy Xuanqin's palace, buzz, buzz, heaven's secret life, shrinking technique. Someone was sensing Su Fong's aura. Su Fong raised his eyebrows. I just received a mission and was about to leave the Clear Skies Myriad Scroll Gate. Immediately, someone came to sense my aura. It seems that many people still haven't given up on me. Whoosh, Fairy Xuanqin passed through the formation. I heard that you also accepted a mission. Be careful. Your mission is very difficult and dangerous. You have to be even more careful. I understand. Fairy Xuanqin responded indifferently. and then floated away. She left very decisively. Su Fong quickly left the palace and left the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. When he flew out of the secret realm and arrived at the starry sky, he activated the heaven's secret life shrinking technique to conceal everything. He was in a state of nothingness as he quietly flew toward the deep void. This place was too close to the clear sky's myriad scroll gate. He could encounter cultivators at any time. Su Fong didn't dare to use his feather fan and could only fly with his 8th Dao realm cultivation. His speed wasn't very fast. Buzz, his consummate ability, once again sensed that someone was rapidly approaching. It wasn't 1 or 2 people. Instead, there were 4 groups of 11 people in total, and all of them were experts. As soon as I left the clear sky's myriad scroll gate, someone immediately chased after me. Obviously, someone in the school leaked my whereabouts. A fierce aura suddenly condensed in Su Fong's mind. He released his consummate ability and activated the heaven's secret life shrinking technique. Buzz. Unexpectedly, he sensed 2 auras that were vaguely familiar. Su Fong could clearly see the experts who were rushing over from different directions with his great perfection ability. 3 of them clearly had the aura of flames. Obviously, they were from Huiyin Shinrikyo. The other 3 had the aura of the Heaven Law Immortal Realm. The last group had a mixed aura. They should be from a Chamber of Commerce. Su Fongdao was shocked to see the faces of the last group of people clearly. These 2 experts were both from the Tranquility Emperor's mansion. One of them even had the aura of the Holy Emperor Divine Origin Scripture. He must be related to the Jing family of the Xinyuan Kingdom of the lower world. Su Fong was even more familiar with the other expert. He was Yin Mo from the Tranquility Emperor's mansion. These people really don't give up their evil intentions. A murderous intent flashed through Su Fong's eyes. A voice came from the blood jade in the depths of Luo's body. These people come from different powers. If you want to kill them all, you have to expose some of your strength. If one of them escapes and reveals that you are the demonic Rakshasa, the consequences will be unthinkable. You're right. I can't do it here. Let's get rid of them first. Su Fong controlled his breathing and suppressed the murderous intent in his heart. He took out his feather fan and suddenly flew out. After flying for a long time, he entered a vast star fog. Su Fong suddenly activated the heaven's secret life shrinking technique. His aura, genuine qi, fate, and so on were concealed. His whole person seemed to have disappeared into nothingness. After waiting for several days in the depths of the star fog, Su Fong finally flew out. Who knew? A few more probing forces swept across Su Fong's body. No, I have to find a place to catch them all in one fell swoop. Otherwise, if they catch up, I will have to be exposed. Su Fong activated his feather fan and sped up. The people behind him were in hot pursuit. About a month later, Su Fong saw a condensed material plate floating in the void from afar. When he flew closer, he used his perfect senses and saw that there was a canyon on this material plate. It was shaped like a gourd. There was a large amount of terrifying airflow all around the plate. It whistled like a whirlwind. If it was a dangerous place, even an elder-level expert would not be able to escape death. But the canyon was very safe. There was no airflow. It's here. Su Fong came outside the plate and used his perfect senses to the extreme. He carefully avoided the airflow and passed through the void. When he reached the material plate, he broke out in a cold sweat. This place was too dangerous. He deliberately waited at the mouth of the canyon until the experts behind him appeared in his sight. Su Fong flew into the gourd canyon. Wooling Goblin. He directly released the Wooling Goblin and was swallowed. The Wooling Goblin used its innate ability to merge with the rock at the mouth of the canyon. After a dozen breaths, whoosh, 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 3 experts from the Chamber of Commerce appeared above the material plate. How did he disappear? He must have entered the canyon and used some divine ability to hide his aura. There are airflow everywhere. What should we do? The customer paid a high price to catch this person. No matter how dangerous it is, we have to go in. What are we afraid of? He is just a small Xian immortal. If he can go in, what do we have to worry about? As long as we pass through the airflow, we will be able to catch a turtle in a jar. The three slowly moved towards the material plate. Hiss, an expert from the Chamber of Commerce, was suddenly swept by an airflow. His body was torn into several pieces. Blood and flesh flew everywhere. The remaining two were pale with fright. They trembled and broke out in a cold sweat. Their speed was as slow as a snail. Finally, they safely reached the material plate and went straight to the bottom of the gourd. Whoosh, 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 the three experts from the heavenly law, immortal world rushed over. Without saying anything, they passed through the turbulence and safely reached the material plate. Then came the experts from Huiyin Shinrikyo. Seeing the experts from the heavenly law, immortal world in front of them, a red-haired old man in the lead immediately became anxious. Su Fong has the ethereal insight. He is also the person that the Yin Senshin wants. He must not fall into the hands of other forces. A total of 3 groups of experts came to the material plate and entered the gourd canyon. After waiting for a long time, the expert surnamed Jing and Yin Mo from the Tranquility Emperor's mansion didn't come. Instead, a loud sound of fierce momentum colliding came from the canyon. The 2 forces that came later didn't find any trace of Su Fong. They mistakenly thought that Su Fong had fallen into the hands of the Chamber of Commerce. Su Fong decided to get rid of the first 3 groups of people first. Rub the great monk Shang De, Dai Yong, the Ghost Dao's 5 freaks, and other experts were released by Su Fong. Hee, now I can move my muscles and bones. The great monk's face was oily. He grinned and showed his teeth in excitement. The Ghost Dao's 5 freaks also moved their bones. Apparently, they had stayed in the crucible transformation realm for too long. Finally, they could come out for a breath of fresh air. Green Feather King and the other big goblin asked to fight, but they were stopped by Su Fong. The experts from the 3 forces couldn't be stronger than the Great Elder. On their side, the Great Monk and Dai Yong had the strength of Elder Yu. The Ghost Dao's 5 freaks were not weaker than them when they joined forces to display the Grand Unity Divine Technique. Why would they need help? Su Fong's current overall strength could easily destroy a large force. In the entire great immortal world, they could definitely be regarded as a powerhouse. I'll give you 20 breaths of time to get rid of them all. After you interrogate them, kill them all, and use them as rations for the junior commanders. Su Fong sternly ordered. The great monk and the others rushed into the canyon excitedly. Su Fong sat and waited at the entrance of the valley. The people from the 3 forces could be regarded as experts in the great immortal world. However, at this time, in the eyes of Su Fong, they could only be regarded as errand boys. The men on duty were busy waving their hands. After a dozen breaths, the great monk and other experts returned and threw the corpses on the ground. Not a single one escaped. Master, the origin and purpose of these people are clear. These people are from Huiyin Shinrikyo, Heavenly Tao, Immortal World, and Huiyin Shinrikyo. In the past few years, they have been guarding the clear sky, Thousand Scroll Door to inquire about Master. Dai Yong reported to Su Fong in detail. Chapter 1201. Tiandao, Immortal Domain, Huiyin Shinrikyo. It won't be long before I'll double the revenge. Cold killing intent seeps out of Su Fong's eyes. He then asks, who invited the Chamber of Commerce? This O? Su Fong sweeps around with his sharp eyes. Dai Yong hurriedly answers. It was the Gu clan, which is Gu Huajun's clan, who invited the experts of the Chamber of Commerce. They suspect that Gu Huajun's death has something to do with Master. The one who leaked Master's whereabouts to the Gu clan was Gu Huajun's master, a great elder of the clear skies myriad scroll gate. Gu Huajun. Su Fong gives a disdainful smile. That despicable villain deserves to die 10,000 times. The Gu clan is also a very powerful Xiojin clan in the Shinao Great World. Even though it cannot compare with those powerful sects, it still cannot be underestimated. Dai Yong was an expert sent by the Gu clan to protect Gu Huajun. His strength has reached the level of a great elder, so it is easy to imagine how powerful the Gu clan is. Gu Huajun's master is also somewhat troublesome. Having such a powerful enemy in the clear skies myriad scroll gate is definitely not a good thing. But it is not good for him to expose his strength and attack directly. Master, you have to be careful. This time the powers have only sent out some weak spies. They already know about Master's mission this time, so they'll definitely send out real experts. The powers of the 8 powers are determined to get the ethereal, true solution. Su Fong says with a frown, I thought it would be a simple mission. I didn't expect it to lead to so much trouble. Su Fong puts away the several powerful experts, then puts the corpses on the ground into the Yellow Spring Great Emperor's bottle for the junior commanders to eat. Not only does he look down on cultivators with such strength, but even those big goblin and ghosts are also not very useful to him. Buzz not long after leaving the material plate. The heavenly secret life shrinking technique suddenly has a reaction. Then some Tao words appear in his mind. The people of the Tranquility Emperor's mansion have finally arrived. Su Fong raises the corners of his mouth, forming a cold smile. He simply stands still, waiting for Yin Mo and the expert surnamed Jing. Whoosh whoosh, 2 silhouettes arrive through the air and suddenly stop more than 100 zhang away from Su Fong. You must be Su Fong. One of them, wearing a bronze mask, asks aloud. He is none other than Yin Mo, an expert from the Tranquility Emperor's mansion. His body emits a supreme air of arrogance and the air of an emperor. Obviously, he is also an expert who practices the way of the emperor. Even though he is not as strong as Lin Yihan, his strength is still very astonishing and surpasses that of an ordinary elder. Su Fong suddenly stops. Fearing that there might be some kind of ambush, Yin Mo also secretly senses his surroundings. Only after discovering that there is no ambush in the surroundings does he feel completely at ease. Su Fong says indifferently, I am Su Fong, Lord Yin Mo of Emperor Ning's mansion. What can I do for you? You know me? Yin Mo was surprised. In the desolate swamp star realm, you once followed Lin Yihan and openly trespassed into the constellation of 9 heavens. I personally witnessed your might, so how could I not remember? Su Fong was very calm, and there was no trace of fear on his face, which made Yin Mo even more vigilant. Lord Yin Mo, there's no need to talk too much with this fish that has fallen into the net. Just capture him and bring him back to the Tranquility Emperor's mansion. That'll be a great merit. The eyes of the expert, surnamed Jing Yuan, carry an evil grin. His tone is very disdainful. He simply does not take Su Fong seriously. Su Fong looks at Jing Yuan gravely. You're the ancestor of the Jing clan of Shun Yuan who ascended to the big world. You should be Jing Yuan, right? In those days, it was you who attacked the Lord of 5 Poisons and prevented him from going through the tribulation and ascending. That's right. I'm Jing Yuan. Mentioning the past, Jing Yuan is very proud of himself. In the lower world, the number of people from the Jing clan who died at my hands was not small. I also destroyed Shin Yuan with my own hands. As for the enmity of the Lord of 5 Poisons, I'll take revenge for him. Su Fong's cold eyebrows are like swords. His eyes flashed with killing intent. You're about to die, yet you still dare to be so arrogant. Today, I'll capture you personally. Once I get the ethereal quintessence, I'll torture you for 10,000 years. As for that Lord of 5 Poisons, I was able to kill him once back then. Now that he has come to the big immortal world, I can still trample on him and make him unable to rise again. Jing Yuan suddenly released his aura. His divine power and aura intertwined into a fist technique. It was as if the world was angry, causing the surrounding star sand to tumble. The Sacred Sovereign's fist, a powerful divine ability of the Sacred Sovereign Scripture, was used by Jing Yuan, an ancestor of the Jing clan. Its power was shocking. Su Fong disdainfully. Sacred Sovereign's fist, peak of the feather immortal 9th Tao realm. So what if I'm a feather immortal 9th Tao realm expert? Killing a puny profound immortal like you is as easy as pie. I'll let you experience the true power of the Sacred Sovereign Scripture. Jing Yuan uttered a cold shout. He urged his aura to envelop Su Fong in the world of his fist technique. Su Fong emitted the aura of the origin of the Star Palace. He did not perform any hand seals, but his aura seemed to merge with the nature around him. He made a grasping motion, and the Star Palace's supreme divine ability, the Meteor Chaos technique, was released. An air of desolation suddenly flashed out. A cluster of starlight, like the shadow of a falling star, shot out with the force of a thunderbolt. The divine power and aura of his fist technique enveloping the surroundings were shattered in the blink of an eye. Jing Yuan successively performed hand seals to neutralize Su Fang's attack and retreated quite a few steps. His cultivation level is one great realm higher than Su Fang's, but in terms of divine abilities and mastery of nature, he is far inferior to Su Fang's. In the beginning, Jing Yuan completely regarded Su Fang as a weakling. How long has it been since he ascended from the lower world? How formidable can he be? Who could have known that Su Fang's power was far beyond his imagination? His face was filled with disbelief. Yan Mo warned in a loud voice. This man is a realm skipper and once defeated Sir Shuiyu, so he's qualified to be ranked among the top 10 gongzi of the present age. It can be seen how astonishingly talented he is. Let's join hands and capture him. Releasing his aura, he runs like thunder, crushing everything in his way step by step. Big Monk, Yanmo's power is on par with yours. Can you capture him? Su Fang secretly says through his primordial spirit. The Big Monk replies with a bitter expression. I can eat meat and drink wine, but at most I can only bully those weaklings. You'd better leave this kind of expert to die young. He's more formidable than this Yan Mo, younger brother. Let me do it. Bai Ling, who has been unable to restrain himself for a long time, says, Boy, this king hasn't exercised his muscles for a long time. It's just the right time to practice with this expert of the Tranquil Emperor's mansion. The Blue Feather King is also eager to give a try. Big Monk, if you still don't want to help, you'll never get the cauldron part of the demon's subduing wheel when you have the chance to enter the ancient battlefield of immortals and demons in the future. Su Fang says in a cold voice. It is actually very easy to subdue Yan Mo. Originally, he wanted to use Yan Mo to train his troops, especially the Big Monk Shangda, who likes to play tricks, bullies the weak, and fears the strong. Master, leave this Yan Mo to me. As soon as he hears about the demon's subduing wheel, the Big Monk seems to have been injected with chicken blood. His whole face is glowing. Su Fang is still somewhat uneasy. Big Monk, you're going to deal with Yan Mo. You must capture him alive. Sister Bai Ling and the Blue Feather King stay on one side. You absolutely can't let this Yan Mo escape. Wizwa's Prajna demon subduing finger stimulated by the demon subduing wheel. As soon as the Big Monk comes out of the crucible transformation realm, he exerts all his skills. He disperses his Vajra energy and forms hand seals to form a large number of swift and fierce finger techniques. In the blink of an eye, he pounces at Yan Mo, setting off a big explosion. Yan Mo recognizes the Big Monk at a glance and exclaims involuntarily, Big Monk Shangda, how is it possible that you're following Su Fang? Yan Mo, let's see how I'm going to kill you. The Big Monk grins, revealing his dense white teeth. He no longer looks like a Buddhist cultivator. Instead, he looks more like a man-eating, ferocious beast. He opens his mouth and spurts out a Vajra ring, which suddenly shoots towards Yan Mo with a swish. Bai Ling and the Blue Feather King also come out of the crucible transformation realm. They have not come into action mainly because they want to prevent Yan Mo from escaping. This Su Fang unexpectedly has such an expert by his side. Jing Yuan also inhales a mouthful of cold air. Yan Mo shouts coldly, Jing Yuan, why are you still in a daze? To catch bandits, first catch the leader. Catch Su Fang. Heavenly Sacred Tyrant Body. Jing Yuan uses the divine might of the Heavenly Sacred Tyrant Body fist technique. He condenses 9 afterimages of giants carrying the aura of an emperor and pounces straight at Su Fang. Su Fang's body suddenly collapses with a series of cracking noises. Blood gushes out like stormy waves beating the shore, looking very astonishing. It turns out Su Fang is using the Yellow Spring Blood Sea for the first time in a fight to test its power. What kind of technique is this? Jing Yuan is dumbfounded. Yellow Spring Blood Sea. That's the Yellow Spring Blood Sea. Your ghost-face Rakshasa. Yan Mo turns pale with fright and cries out loudly. In order to seize the inheritance of the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor's Taoist right, various powers have been fighting each other for it. In the end, it has fallen into the hands of Ghostface Rakshasa, whose whereabouts are unknown. Now that Su Fong has used the Yellow Spring Blood Sea, a supreme magical ability unique to the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor, it can only prove one thing. Su Fong, whom they regard as a weakling, is none other than Ghostface Rakshasa. Yin Mo and Jing Yuan's minds go blank. Their trembling backs are drenched in cold sweat. It was during this moment of distraction that Bai Ling exuded a strange aura that came from the power of chaos. In a flash, she flew behind Yin Mo and opened her mouth to spit out a large amount of chaotic fire. The big monk also very sinisterly used his divine ability to hit Yin Mo's body, causing a huge explosion and sending Yin Mo flying. On the other side, Su Fong's illusory fire cloud caused the surroundings to be filled with fiery clouds. The fiery clouds also miraculously hid themselves within them, enveloping Jing Yuan from above. Ghostface Rakshasa, you devil, you won't have a good death. The fiery clouds burned and the blood boiled. At first, Jing Yuan was still struggling, but in less than 5 breaths' time, his aura was devoured, and he fell into the blood. Then the illusory fire cloud devoured him and merged with him, becoming nutrients for Su Fong's cultivation. By now, Su Fong has already mastered part of the Netherworld Sea of Blood, so he can change its form and use his divine abilities. This is the first time he uses the Netherworld Sea of Blood in a fight. Its power is already so terrifying that Jing Yuan basically has no power to resist. On the other side, the monk and Bai Ling have beaten Yin Mo to the point that he has no power to fight back. Su Fong's illusory fire cloud then shoots out a black round wheel. Taking advantage of the moment when Yin Mo is exhausted, it hovers above his head. The demonic blood plate Buzz the demonic blood plate starts to operate. The supreme divine power of the primordial spirit begins to envelop Yin Mo, making him lose his fighting capacity completely. Don't kill him for the moment. When the monk is about to kill Yin Mo, Su Fong suddenly stops him and sucks him into the demonic blood plate. Bai Ling knows Su Fong the best. Little brother, you want to keep him alive and make him your slave. Correct. This man is a bit weaker than the monk. If I keep him alive, I'll have one more expert under my command. Moreover, I'll have to ask him about some secrets of the Tranquility Emperor's mansion. But he's very loyal and devoted to the Tranquility Emperor's mansion, so I'm afraid it'll be very hard to subdue him. Master, if you give this Yin Mo to the monk, I'll have plenty of ways to make him obedient. He'll even tell me about how he wet his pants when he was a child. But that demonic wheel of law. The monk's eyes glitter with greed. Su Fong says coldly, as my subordinate, as long as he performs meritorious deeds, he'll be able to obtain any kind of resources and treasures. I won't take you in for the demonic wheel of law, but if you still don't do your part honestly like before, I'm not sure what I'll do. This time, not long after leaving the Blue Sky Myriad Scroll Gate, he has avenged the Lord of 5 Poisons and subdued Yin Mo. Perhaps he will be able to get the method of practicing the way of the sovereign from him. The purple cloud magic spirit can indeed bring luck. Chapter 1202. 3 years later, a figure flashes out from the boundless star sand. He is wearing a plain green robe with no sign of any Dao pattern and is very clean. However, his whole body is filled with exhaustion. It is none other than Su Fong who has hurried here after leaving the Blue Sky Myriad Scroll Gate. The Blue Sky Myriad Scroll Gate is not very far from the Shenlan Immortal World, but he has to pass through countless dangerous places on the way. On the way, Su Fong has also encountered experts from the Emperor Ning's mansion and the Tiandao Immortal World. Obviously, they have come for him, so he has to take a detour. The Shenlan Immortal World is in sight. All the powers have already known about my mission, so they must be waiting for me in the Shenlan Immortal World. I can't use my original appearance. Su Fong shrinks his bones and muscles and turns into a sickly-looking loose practitioner in an instant. At the same time, he controls his aura to that of the 3rd Xian Immortal Realm. Moreover, he also carries the divine power of fire and a wisp of highly toxic aura. He then takes out a bronze mask. It is the mask that Yin Mo often wears on his face. This expert of the Emperor Ning's mansion is indeed a tough nut to crack. He is very loyal to the Emperor Ning's mansion and still refuses to yield after 3 years. At the moment, he is being tortured by the monk Shangde. Bang! He activates the illusory fire cloud and turns his palms into flames, gradually melting the mask. When Su Fang's palms return to their original state, a brand new bronze mask appears in his hands. It is completely different from before. It is giving off a scorching aura, and there is a flame-shaped pattern between its eyebrows. He puts on a mask and completely changes his appearance. Su Fang flew across the sky toward the distant territory. Whoosh, as soon as he gets close to the material continent, more than 10 figures fly over. This aura is from the Emperor Ning's mansion again. There are 3 elder-level experts and even more powerful experts hiding in the distance. The Emperor Ning's mansion is really persistent in obtaining the ethereal enlightenment. Humph, do you really think I, Su Fang, will let you do whatever you want? Su Fang secretly curls his eyebrows, but on the surface, he is trembling and looks like he is at a loss. An astonishing divine power shrouds Su Fang like a shackle. Then many sharp gazes with divine light sweep over Su Fang repeatedly. Take off the mask, an elder-level expert shouts coldly. The group of masters of Emperor Tranquility's mansion naturally didn't find anything unusual, so they left in embarrassment. Along the way, they were interrogated several times by unknown masters. They also used their sensing power to probe Su Fang, but they were unable to discover the true details of Su Fang. They finally entered the territory of the divine Billow Immortal Realm. After flying for a few more days, the royal city could be seen in the distance. Finally, they landed on a mountain range a few hundred li away from the royal city. Then, he secretly pondered. Although the sect's mission this time was simple, due to their whereabouts being leaked, the various powers wanted to obtain the ethereal true insight from Su Fang. However, there were many variables. He definitely couldn't head straight to the Divine Wave Nation's Imperial Palace. That would quickly attract the attention of various forces. Not only would the mission not be completed, but it would also attract countless troubles. The best way was to find the Devil Dao cultivators and kill their generals. That way, the Divine Wave Nation's crisis would be easily resolved. As for how to find demonic cultivators, whoosh, whoosh, one figure after another flew over from afar. What a coincidence! As soon as I arrived in the Divine Wave Immortal Realm, I encountered demonic cultivators. Is it because I'm lucky, or has the situation in the Divine Wave Immortal Realm gone out of control? Have demonic cultivators become so rampant that they can be seen everywhere? Su Fang was very surprised. He used his wood element ability and merged with a giant tree. Even if a great elder was close by, it would be difficult for him to detect his existence. Whoosh, more than 20 black-robed men landed on the mountain peak. Only about 20 meters away from the giant tree Su Fang was hiding in. Sensing the aura of the black-robed men, Su Fang was very surprised. Demonic mountain cultivators. Could it be that Demonic Mountain was the one who instigated the rebellion in the Divine Wave Immortal Realm? Demonic Mountain Su Fang naturally had a deep impression of it. Demonic Mountain was the most powerful demonic force in this immortal realm, but it was very far away from this void. Su Fang had seen with his own eyes the close relationship between Demonic Mountain and the devil rays from the devil world outside the thousand-flowing Dao field in the desolate swamp astral realm. Su Fang speculated that Demonic Mountain might be a force cultivated by the devil world in this immortal realm. These black-robed men were all in the mystic immortal realm, and the leader was a peak mystic immortal expert. His status in the sect should be a core disciple, far from being a special disciple. However, this force was already considered very powerful in the Divine Wave Immortal Realm. Why did Demonic Mountain cultivators come to a small place like the Divine Wave Immortal Realm? If Demonic Mountain intervenes, this mission will be a bit troublesome. Su Fang was very depressed. Could it be that his good luck had run out? A simple mission had become so complicated. Law suddenly reprimanded him from the depths of his body. Luck is often hidden in danger. How can there be so many free lunches falling from the sky? Don't worry, this kind of thinking is extremely detrimental to your cultivation. The more difficult and dangerous it is, the more you can sharpen your Tao heart and improve your ability. Besides, your purpose for leaving the clear skies myriad scroll door is to improve your strength and suppress the big goblin, subdue experts, and expand your overall strength. Isn't it just right that you encountered experts in this mission? Su Fong immediately became alert. La, you're right. I was too impetuous. Jiang Heking's carriage will arrive in 2 hours. Hide well. This time, we must succeed in one strike, a black-robed man suddenly said in a cold voice. Swish, swish, swish. The black-robed men hid behind rocks and trees. Not only did they hide their bodies, but they also restrained their auras to the greatest extent. Coincidentally, a black-robed devil Dao cultivator hid behind a big tree that had merged with Su Fong. Pooh! It turned out that Su Fong had activated his second primordial spirit and directly drilled into the back of this unlucky demonic mountain cultivator's head. He easily broke the divine aperture's defense and then sealed his young immortal primordial spirit with the force of thunder. After that, Su Fong used the demonic blood plate to suck the demonic mountain cultivator into it. The black-robed men nearby vaguely felt that something was wrong, but they couldn't see anything abnormal. They thought that their companion was hiding somewhere else, so they didn't pay much attention. After some interrogation, the demonic mountain disciples didn't come to the divine billow immortal world to take over the clear skies myriad scroll door, but for a treasure of the divine billow nation's imperial family. Because the status of the demonic mountain disciples wasn't high, they didn't know what kind of treasure it was. However, judging from a scale of the demonic mountain's mobilization this time, that treasure was very important. Not only did the demonic mountain send tens of thousands of ordinary disciples, but there were also a dozen special disciples and several elders. They also instigated a rebellion in the divine billow nation and didn't hesitate to obtain that treasure. However, the demonic mountain's movements were very secretive, and they always appeared as ordinary devil Dao cultivators. For the demonic mountain to attach such importance to it, it was obvious that the treasure was very important. At this time, so many demonic mountain cultivators were hiding here. It turned out that they planned to ambush the divine billow nation's King River. This person controlled the divine billow nation's army and had great power. As long as they killed this person, the divine billow nation's army would also be greatly weakened. What puzzled Su Fong was that since this treasure was so important to the demonic mountain, why didn't they directly attack the imperial palace and seize it? Instead, they spent so much effort. 2 hours later, rumble. The sound of hooves gradually came, and the earth shook. Su Fong released his great perfection ability and saw the bottom of the mountain clearly. There were actually 40 to 50,000 soldiers passing by the foot of the mountain. The soldiers were dressed in bright armor, and their military formation was neat. When tens of thousands of people gathered together, they carried a murderous aura that soared to the sky. It was magnificent and mighty. Kill! The black-robed men suddenly threw out their magic weapons one by one and condensed their supernatural powers. A dozen shocking auras directly covered the sky and the earth and directly attacked the army below. Then, runes appeared one after another, causing a big explosion. The poisonous demonic chi gathered into a cloud and rolled out. There was suddenly chaos below. Although these soldiers were naturally stronger than mortals from the lower realm and were the elites of the divine billow nation, they couldn't resist the attacks of mystic immortals. Under the attack of the magic weapons and the poisonous demonic chi, they fell to the ground in groups. Su Fong watched coldly from aside. If the divine billow nation's King River, who controlled the military power, was so easy to kill, then the divine billow nation would have been destroyed by the demonic mountain long ago. How could they have a chance to ask for help from the clear skies myriad scroll door? Buzz, the heavenly secret life shrinking technique, suddenly reacted, and a mysterious pattern flashed in his mind. Su Fong couldn't believe it. How can there be someone by the King River side who can cause the heavenly secret life shrinking technique to react? Suddenly, a group of demonic scoundrels dare to sneak attack the King River. A thunderous shout suddenly burst out from the army. It came from a luxurious carriage in the middle of the army. An immortal flew up, and his flying sword rolled out a shocking and domineering aura. It actually cut the attack formed by the magic weapons and demonic chi into pieces. The aura of the Tranquility Emperor's residence. Su Fang's eyes showed disbelief. How could there be an elite from the Tranquility Emperor's residence by the King Riverside? What was even more surprising was that this person was someone he knew from the lower realm. Immortal Master Lung Xian. This person went to the small world for the true enlightenment of ethereality and fought with Su Fang several times. Later, Immortal Master Lung Xian escaped from the small world, and he didn't expect to meet him here. What Su Fang didn't know was that after he ascended to the immortal realm, Immortal Master Lung Xian and Jing Yuan had searched the entire Yuan Lu Great World for him, but they couldn't find him in the end. Su Fang released his great perfection power and sent his sensing power to the heavily guarded King River's carriage. He saw a middle-aged man with a dignified aura inside the carriage, but his cultivation was only at the mystic immortal fifth Tao realm. He couldn't be considered an elite, but he had a lofty aura. He must be the divine Billow Nation's King River. A white-robed immortal sat opposite the King River. His cultivation was at the level of an ordinary elder, and he also had the aura of the Tranquility Emperor's residence. It seems there are undercurrents in the divine Billow immortal realm. Simple missions are getting more complicated and interesting. This is a good chance to sneak into the King Riverside and find out what the Tranquility Emperor's residence is up to. Su Fang sneered, having an idea. Immortal Master Lung Xian, his greatest enemy in the lower realm, was just a nobody in his eyes now. That white-robed immortal was nothing to him as well. However, the Tranquility Emperor's residence and the celestial demon mountain's intention to enter the divine Billow immortal realm had piqued Su Fang's interest. The black-robed immortals on the mountain leaped into the air and attacked Immortal Master Lung Xian. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Another dozen immortals flew out from the vicinity of the King River's carriage. Judging from their auras, they were from the Tranquility Emperor's residence. Immortal Master Lung Xian's strength was limited in the small world, so he eventually fled from Su Fang. Now he had used all his strength and reached the pinnacle of the mystic immortal ninth Tao realm. Still, he wasn't an elite in Su Fang's eyes and was much weaker than Jing Yuan. The celestial demon mountain had twice as many people as the Tranquility Emperor's residence. The most powerful black-robed immortal was almost as strong as Immortal Master Lung Xian. Due to their advantage in numbers, Immortal Master Lung Xian gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. Whoosh, it turned out that Su Fang had made his move. He disguised himself as an itinerant cultivator and rushed out from the mountain with a mask on his face. First, he threw out poisonous runes. Then he made a series of hand seals and performed fire elemental magic. In order to hide his identity, Su Fang had only performed ordinary fire elemental magic. In the Nether Ruins, Su Fang had obtained many fire elemental magic books from Daoist Fu with storage ring. The fire elemental magic he was performing now was one of the most ordinary ones. However, Su Fang had fused some poisonous true qi into these fire elemental magic, so its power was no longer ordinary. It was even more astonishing among the mystic immortals,